Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast. This is your host, Mr. BDA, and alongside with me as always, my co-host, King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. We are broadcasting to you live from the true north, as always, Canada. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Last night, we had a couple of fights. Not that many, big old fights, but they were quite entertaining. We had an upset. We had some knockouts, a little bit of everything for everybody. So if you're going to come into the podcast, as always, you know the drill. Go to Google Hangouts and send us an instant message via the email address that's on the top of your screen, boxingdebate@hotmail.com. That is boxingdebate@hotmail.com. Now, let's get on to business. Bucho, did you watch the fights last night?
No, I saw the highlights. I couldn't watch them yesterday, but
You didn't have time to watch them today?
I guess I'm kind of shocked. But then some of us were predicting that Beltran was finished.
Yeah.
Not finished.
Now, by the way, did you give my prediction yesterday? Or not yesterday, last Friday?
I don't meet this. Yeah.
Bucho?
What?
Who's there?
Yeah.
No, who's there? Who did you just invite?
Oh, Cameron.
That's me, man.
Oh, Cameron. All right, hold on a second.
I'm at the beach, man, and that's why.
I see.
Fuck, mate, it's life, man. You only live once. Make the most of life. Enjoy it. Everybody's got their weird fetishes, man. And mine just happens to be eating fucking ass.
I hope everybody in the beach heard that. Cameron, good to have you on board.
Yeah, I'm with a friend right now. That's why. So, yeah, they definitely heard it.
Okay. Fantastic. Thanks for joining us.
As well.
What's that?
A female friend, so cheers for playing that.
A female. Just make sure she's female, because I've made that mistake before.
Can you see this, man? Can you see where I'm at, huh?
We see a little bit. It's quite dark.
Yeah. Nah, well, yeah, it's good to be on, man. It's been a while, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it has. We're just talking about some of the fights we had last night. Let me tell you something. By the way, Bucho, I was asking you, did you tell people the prediction that we made on Friday?
Oh, shit.
I don't know. I think that means no. Or
no, man. I forgot.
You forgot. You had one thing to do, Bucho. One thing. You couldn't even do that. How am I supposed to trust you with the BDA enterprise? You can't even remember that one single thing.
You predicted Beltran was going to get stopped.
Shut up. Nobody cares now.
But he didn't get stopped. But he didn't get stopped.
First of all, I never said he was going to get stopped. See, that's at least... Okay, at least you... It's good that you forgot to say it. Otherwise, you would have given the wrong prediction.
No,
my prediction...
That's what you said.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay, what
my prediction was Beltran was going to look bad. And I expected him... I expected him to win. I think like most people. Then again, I think that the odds makers knew something was up because they actually had the fight pretty close. Pretty fucking close the day before the fight. So... obviously, like I said, they knew something was up. And then once the fight actually started, wow, that let's talk about Pedraza first. Jose Pedraza, because after he lost to Tank Davis, and then Tank Davis started to look lethargic in his performances, people thought, all right, so maybe it's Tank Davis that's not all that good, and therefore the fact that Pedraza was able to give him so much trouble in their fight, because he was hitting him clean a lot, that means Pedraza isn't that much better either. Well, he stepped up to the game here. He obviously improved from his past performances. He was sharp. His jab was on point. Every time Beltran tried to get close, he would smother him or he would counter him. He wasn't running people. He was actually stepping back and countering Beltran. So he was doing a very good job. He was sharp. He was pivoting, showing angles, even on the inside. He was making Beltran work. And obviously, okay, some people are going to say Beltran was 37 years old. He was past his prime, whatever. Yeah, but he's still a pretty tough nut to crack. And the fact that Pedraza was able to beat him so convincingly and drop him, hey, what's his name? Terence Crawford wasn't able to do it. And I know it was a better version of Beltran, but this was really an impressive performance from Pedraza. Now, here's the problem, Bucho. The problem is people are starting to talk about the winner of this fight is supposed to take on Lomachenko, and a lot of people thought that it was going to be Beltran. Well, now it's Pedraza against Lomachenko. And yes, Pedraza looked good, and this version of Pedraza can give Lomachenko some good rounds, a couple of good rounds. But the question is, I mean, it's not the type of fight where you're going in there on paper going, wow, it's going to be a 50-50 fight. You know it's Lomachenko's going to take it, at least on paper. So I don't understand why. And you know, some people, I was reading some comments over at Ring TV, and one guy goes, well, why shouldn't Pedraza take on Lomachenko? Or why shouldn't Lomachenko take on Pedraza? Because if he beats him, he gets another belt. And I'm thinking, what the fuck does that, what does that matter? Getting another belt. He would be wasting time against Pedraza. Is a belt really worth it? That much worth it?
Well, who else is there?
Is it that valuable? Well, that's a good point.
And by the way, if Lomachenko, in which round did Davis knock out Pedraza?
Good question. I think it was in the 6th round, right? Let me check.
If Lomachenko goes 12 rounds with this guy,
oh, here we go.
Trust me, you're gonna start hearing, oh, he couldn't do what Gervonta Davis did, blah blah blah.
Right.
When Gervonta Davis, let's remember, he didn't want to fight Lomachenko, so just putting it out there, preemptive message, you could say.
It was, to answer your question, it was Davis stopped him in the 7th round, but not before getting touched up a little bit himself. So it was. But listen, Davis took him out. You know what I like about Davis? All right, look, his attitude outside the ring sucks. And he's keeping secrets from the people by not divulging his sexual relationship with Adrian Broner. But let's face it, man. We all, you know, you often talk about how you don't like runners or people that are, you know, just looking to pot shot and all that. Gervonta Davis doesn't do any of that, man. He comes forward, he digs to the body, he's a power puncher. Say what you want about his flaws, defensive flaws, but at least he comes to party. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Like this was a good fight, man. There was both boxers like to come in and fight. Gervonta Davis, I think, should move up to lightweight and start making the division a little bit more exciting because I don't know. It looks, in my opinion, I mean, Lomachenko, in my opinion, is the best pound for pound boxer right now. But there's not a lot of boxers he can beat and get a lot of credit in at lightweight. You know, Gervonta Davis would be a good win in my opinion. I don't care if he's 23. Fuck, I mean, how many champions in history, like great boxers at 23, were already doing amazing things?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
This is an excuse now. It's like fucking babies now. They have to be like 26, 27, 28 to start fucking making their career. They start their career. Fuck.
Well, it's interesting because it seems like it was Bob Arum that wanted Beltran to. I mean, way before that, he was already talking about Beltran versus Lomachenko. This version of Beltran, the one we saw last night against Pedraza, would have gotten murdered by Lomachenko. And let's just say a couple of last words about Beltran, because I have to tell you, I was rooting for Beltran a little bit because of the story about him wanting to become a U.S. citizen, and he had to prove that he was a superior elite athlete in order to. That would have given him an advantage in gaining citizenship. Well, now that's lost. And you could see it coming that he was going to lose because he'd been slowing down a lot in the past 4 years. And here's the other thing that I want to mention. And we'll talk about it with the guys that just dropped in. That guy, he doesn't move his head. He never really moved his head during his career. He was always used to parrying and getting inside and shooting body shots. But this time, it finally cost him. He was getting hit with jabs that he shouldn't have been getting hit with. It was just I wasn't screaming at the TV, but I was thinking, come on, move your head, man. And then when he would get inside, it was one shot at a time. He was never that used to outworking guys on the inside. It was always okay, a body shot here, a body shot there, and then reset, and then so it finally cost him against Pedraza. But credit to Pedraza, man. He came in with a good game plan. He was tight. He was fast. Like I said, his jab was on point, so you gotta give him credit for that. And I see that we have Stu and Abztract Boxing on the line.
I wasn't bad though.
I told you what's going to happen to Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
What do we mean when we say throwing punches with bad intention? We mean we want to seriously hurt people.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for being on. How are you?
What's up, man?
Evening.
That's right, evening. Oh yeah, it is. Well, over here it's evening. Over there it's, well, I don't know what it is.
Well, yeah,
But,
that's what I was trying to cater to the over the pond, across the pond contingent. Yeah, it's like early hours of the morning here.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah,
Well, listen.
It's like 20 to 1. Thank God I ain't got work tomorrow.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
fucking
right.
tired, man. Went on the drink last night. Started drinking some homemade cider, and it fucking wrecked me, boys. So
Homemade
I'll stay as
cider?
long as I can.
What are you, a hillbilly? A British hillbilly making his own moonshine?
Yeah, some guy I know makes his own cider, and it's just no chemicals, just pure like apples, and it's strong. It's strong, but it doesn't give you a hangover. Just tired because I stayed up late last night drinking it.
Well, if it has no chemicals, what's the fun? Listen, guys, did you end up watching the fights from last night?
I caught the Dogbo fight. I mean, that guy's a problem, isn't he? But I fell asleep I couldn't stay awake no longer. Just dragging it on to ridiculous times. I just couldn't stay awake no longer. I hear that Pedraza one, and doesn't surprise me that he did. I mean, Belcher. I agree with you, boys. Belcher's been on the slide for a while now. Whatever you say about Pedraza, he's a very good boxer, and he's quick with his hands. And I just think he's a bit too young, a bit too fucking quick for the likes of an aging Raymond Belcher. And I think it's a bit disgraceful that if that's the case, where they're making him become an elite athlete before they give him a fucking visa, man. He might as well just come over the border legally. He'll get all right.
Exactly. Well, listen, he
tried.
I
missed the fight. How did it go?
Well, it was like that from the get-go. Pedraza was just sticking that jab in there. His plan was essentially, he knew Beltran was going to come forward, so it was make Beltran come to him, counter him, turn him, and if he couldn't turn him, he would clinch him. But he was punching. He was punching with the jab. He was countering. He even dropped Beltran. I think it was in the 11th round with a counter left uppercut. It was a beauty. I mean, he just fought the perfect fight, and he looked real sharp, man, real sharp. But again,
he's very sharp. It's a very good fight, Pedraza. I was shocked that Tank Davis destroyed him like he did. Just shows you how good Tank Davis is. But I've always rated Pedraza. I think it's a very good fight. But Tank just went through him, and obviously he's a bigger weight division now. So we'll have to see how he goes. But I don't really like the Lomachenko fight because I just don't think Lomachenko's going to get any credit for it, because they're just going to say, well, Tank Davis destroyed this guy at 130. So I don't know. Yeah. I just don't. Yeah, I just don't see the point of that fight at the moment. I think Pedraza needs to get a few more wins behind him, before he fights Lomachenko. I mean, Raymond Beltran, an aging Beltran at that, is not good enough win to get a shot at Lomachenko for me. I'd rather see the Linares fight again than watch Pedraza, to be honest with you.
That's a good point. Abstract, what did you think? What are your thoughts on everything that happened and last night and the upcoming events surrounding it?
I didn't see the Dogbo fight. I saw Beltran Pedraza. I tell you what, you hit the nail on the head before. He's never moved his head, Beltran. Like, he looked bewildered. Like, I think he's done, to be honest. I think he's done. Pedraza did look good. I mean, like you say, he was catching him with that jab a lot. He looked sharp, hand speed wise as well. That little, I think it was more like a little short check hook that he caught him with late on. Was it the 10th or the 11th? It was a nice little shot. And I thought he won the fight clearly.
Oh yeah.
Davis looks good, but I think Davis's power is a big part of that. I mean, that kid hits like a fucking mule, mate. I don't think there's no competition for Lomachenko at 135. I don't, like Davis clearly doesn't want no parts of Lomachenko. He doesn't want no parts of him. When you've got Floyd coming out, if you remember before the Linares fight and Davis's fight, Floyd saying, yeah, if they both win, they're going to be put in together, and and Tank starts tweeting like, I'm being set up and that. Like, who fucking talks about a chance at unifying the title as a world champion as being set up? I mean, like, you know, like he clearly knows he's way outclassed and outgunned with Lomachenko. And the thing is, it's all right having power. Nicholas Walters had power. You've got to fucking land that shit. And
yeah, but I don't think Tank should be in any rush to go up and fight Lomachenko. I mean, a lot of people are pushing the fight, but I don't. I think Tank's a young guy, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Tank Davis with Eddie Hearn by the end of the year. I think when Eddie Hearn says he's talking to disgruntled fighters, I think Tank Davis is definitely one of them. I mean, Floyd is a terrible promoter. Whatever Floyd cares about one person on this planet, and that's himself. He's a terrible promoter, and it's just a matter of time before Tank's blowing the best years of his life. He's wasting it with Floyd. I mean, I think he needs to get on this DAZN money. I mean, when you got people like Tevin Farmer earning life-changing money, then what's Tank Davis going to earn? I mean, this kid's a real good fighter. I think to push him up to 135 to fight Lomachenko would be suicide, and I just don't get it. If I was in charge of Tank, I'd keep him at 130 and let him at least unify that division, at least, you know, or fucking at least become undisputed in the division or something. Because I think the 135 division, I think them guys might be a bit too big for him. Because I'd pick Linares to beat Tank as well. I think it's just a bit too big and too long for him.
Well, hold on a second.
I don't know if I agree with that. With the sort of like Tank shouldn't be in any rush. I think we need to be holding all fighters to the same sort of standards. Like, you know, he's a world champion. Like, you know, well, is he still a world champion? Yeah, didn't he win another title the last?
Yeah,
fight?
he won another title, I think.
Yeah, so like, I don't know. You've got guys that are sort of like were sort of slagging Joshua for not fighting different people, like as soon as he won the title in his 16th fight or whatever, who were saying like Tank Davis shouldn't fight anybody, who were saying Tank. No, but Tank was holding the title in the same division as Lomachenko when that was all happening.
You can't compare holding a belt at one division and then going up a division to fight the pound for pound number one in my eyes, to Joshua stepping up and fighting someone as a heavyweight. I mean, there's just no comparison at all. So
no, but what I'm saying, Stu, is when that was all happening to start with, when Tank first started saying like, I'm not in any rush to fight Loma, they were holding titles at 130, both of them. They were in the same division.
I agree. Like I said, there's no way that. I agree. As a boxing fan, there's no excuses for Tank not to be taking that fight at 130. But I see it from a promoter's side and from a business side that it'd be suicide to stick him in with Lomachenko. And I think that's probably the only smart move Floyd has done for him, is keep him away from Lomachenko. Because Lomachenko actually, he don't just beat you; he actually ends your career. Because he takes your spirit from you, and you're never the same man. I mean, they've all gone into hiding, haven't they? Where's Walters gone? Has anyone seen the guy? Where's Rigondeaux? Is he still alive? Do you know what I mean?
There was some news about Rigondeaux apparently signing with who was it? I can't remember who it was. There was some news about a week ago about Rigondeaux signing a new promotional contract.
Please tell me he signed with Frank Malone.
Career was over after that fight because he just
please tell me that he signed with Frank Maloney. Come on. Let's see.
Ryan Garcia should sign with Frank Maloney.
I'm looking at the news here. Guillermo Rigondeaux. The last news that I see on Google for him are from August the 2nd, and it's an article from SB Nation. Guillermo Rigondeaux, what's left for El Chacal. But they don't say anything about him signing with anybody. But I'll tell you what, though, because you guys were talking about...
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I see a news article in BoxingNews24.com. It says Rigondeaux is looking to make a new deal with Luis de Cubas Jr.
Luis de Cubas Jr.? Isn't that the guy that left the Mayweather gym? Oh, no, that's Luis Arias. Sorry. All right, listen. When we find out exactly who
this Rigondeaux, man, no one wants to touch him, do they?
Well, yeah.
The promoters don't want no part of this guy.
Well, you know,
he wants 900 grand to fight in a a 2,000-seat arena and stink the joint out. I mean, it just in business sense, why bother?
He's 37. I mean, what are you gonna do with this guy?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, I've never ever had my opinion sort of like go from bad to kind of like feeling a bit bad for a fighter to just completely the opposite in such a short amount of time. If you remember, before the Lomachenko fight, we heard how much money Rigo was getting and stuff, and I started to feel like a bit bad for him and thinking, oh, fucking hell, man, this guy's like nearly 40 and he's made fuck all. Like,
all right, but let me interrupt you right there.
You watched the way he fought, and then you know the way he quit, and then the way he refused to give Lomachenko any credit at the end of the fight and stuff.
I have to stop you right there, man. I have to stop you right there because I understand it's good that you feel bad for the guy and that you have some sympathy, but he put himself in that position, man. We talked about it even before the fight because Rigondeaux is the type of guy who doesn't understand that boxing is a business. He thinks, listen, I'm gonna do things my way, and fine, I can respect that. But if you want to make it in this business and you want to have fans, you have to at least throw combinations. And this guy was thinking out the joint, even when he was facing that overmatched Filipino guy on the Cotto. Which undercard? Yeah, and he could have taken him out or at least beat him up a little bit. And what did he do? Oh, I'll look good the next time. I'll just throw 5 punches around. I mean, come on.
I mean, I agree. I agree completely. It was just from a more human perspective. I just kind of like felt a little bit bad for the guy because he was, you know, getting on in years and hadn't made fuck all from boxing. Do you know what I mean? That was all it was.
Yeah, but don't feel bad for a guy that's got all the talent in the world, but only wants to show you 30% of it. You know,
yeah, exactly. I don't feel bad at all.
And he thinks now, but even that 30%, he thinks it's a privilege that we should get that out of him. I mean, the guy's arrogance, there's no limits to it. And I think that's the problem with Guillermo Rigondeaux. He's got all the talent in the world, but he doesn't show it. There's times when he could have stopped fighters because he was levels apart and he stinks the joint out. You know,
that fight that BDA just mentioned. That fight, man. That fight that BDA mentioned in the Canelo Cotto undercard 2015, they put fucking Rigondeaux in that undercard so he can, you know, that's his opportunity to show the world that, you know, what he is, his talent. This guy,
Drian Francisco, that was, wasn't it? Drian Francisco.
Yeah, I think so. I think he threw like 13 punches in the whole fight or something. I don't know, some ridiculous number, man. I don't know, not 13, but it was it's a low output. I was like, what are you? I'm not gonna feel bad for you, motherfucker. And this guy, just because he had 2 gold medals, he's like, oh, now roll out the red carpet. Here I come, you know, boxing, professional boxing, and give me all this money. It's like it doesn't work that way, man.
Yeah, he looked shitty in that fight, and I remember in the Cordoba fight as well. I don't know if it was his first televised fight. It was the first time I saw him as a pro in the Ricardo Cordoba fight, and I remember the commentators going on about how he'd never been dropped and everything, and literally like about 2 seconds after they said it, he got dropped.
Listen,
he like that Francisco tried to fight inside, he just got fucking handled.
Listen, is anyone going to remember in 10 years' time? Is anyone going to remember Guillermo Rigondeaux when we're talking about the great nights of boxing and Hall of Famers? Are we going to be talking about Guillermo Rigondeaux? No, we're not.
We're going to remember him for that fight with Lomachenko. With Lomachenko, that's it. No.
Yeah, and fans of amateur boxing might remember his amateur career, but nobody's going to remember him as a pro.
You can't take away his amateur pedigree. You can't.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're talking professional boxing here. We're not talking.
Yeah. No one. No.
He's gonna be remembered like that Cuban that never fought a leader, Savon, or I don't know what's his name.
Was it Stevenson?
Yeah, Felix Stevenson or Felix Savon.
Whatever. It was gonna be remembered like that guy, man.
Well, I'll give you an example here.
It's apples and pears, as fucking David.
Well, I'll give you.
It's hard to say who would. I'd pick Ali to beat Stevenson, but they reckon that Stevenson was a problem. So, I mean,
well, listen. Before we continue,
Guillermo Rigondeaux did both, and
before we continue,
you know, he had a chance to make a lot of money, make a big name for himself. He had the skills to do it.
Yes, I do have,
but just not the heart and the will and the desire. That's why you got fighters like Conor Benn, who's got bigger following than Rigondeaux. Do you know what I mean? I bet if they went back to back on a pay-per-view night, Conor Benn would do more numbers.
Well, I don't know. Well, maybe.
I mean, the thing is, as well, after the Lomachenko fight, everyone was going on about fucking like, you know, the size difference. Listen, Lomachenko never used size to beat Rigondeaux. Not at all. Like, he fucking outboxed him. He outclassed him. You know?
Yeah, but he didn't even go out of his stomach, because there's a lot of times in boxing where a fighter actually gets more following from a brave defeat. But he didn't even, you know, actually, you know, Chris Eubank Senior used to be the hated man in the UK. It's only when he started getting beat up was when everyone started to love him. Do you know what I mean? When he had a war with Carl Thompson and he put it all on the line, and you know, sometimes a defeat can make you more popular and give you more fans. But he didn't even go out on his sword. This guy just quit, and he wasn't, you know, he was getting tagged up and he was getting outboxed completely, but he wasn't getting hurt badly where, you know, he has to throw it in before because it's life threatening. He just quit because he knew he couldn't win, and it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, mate.
All right, now listen, before we continue,
BDA wants to say something. I think BDA wants to say something.
Yeah, it's because I don't know what's going on. Bucho, we gotta change this fucking Hangouts thing because
we're gonna try the other Hangouts.
We can't hear you, BDA. We only hear you when it's completely quiet.
Don't worry about it.
Any sort of noise and you just completely cut out.
Yeah, it happens in real life too. But listen, before we continue, I just want to introduce, we got Jimmy and Recognize the Matrix on the house.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
I had a bad trip at a wedding in Maine, and it was a stormy night, right? I'm on LSD. Oh, I was fucking freaking out. It was horrible. I'll never take it again.
All right, gentlemen.
I can't wait for my grandkids to hear that.
Well,
that's awesome. What's going on, guys?
Not much, guys. Thanks for being on.
What's going on, peoples?
We're just talking about Rigondeaux, because we were talking about Beltran from last night and how Pedraza is going up against Gervonta Davis, and that went over to Lomachenko, and that led to us talking about Guillermo Rigondeaux. And I just want to say one thing. You can see the contrast in mentalities, because you have Rigondeaux grew up poor. I think he had to sell one of his gold medals or something in order to make money or send money back to his family. I mean, he left his family in Cuba and everything, but he's an arrogant prick, like you guys said. This guy, when they were talking about Lomachenko to him, and they said like, oh, are you gonna, you know, people are saying that everybody that he fights quits. What about you? And he actually rolled his eyes while he was drinking some sort of like a Starbucks mocha latte double fucking vanilla thing. And he says, no, I'm not going to quit. And then he quits. Now, compare that to another poor guy, Cisraket Sorongvisai, who was fucking eating rats, eating out of the garbage, cooking fucking cartons out of the garbage, and racing people, other bums with his shopping cart. And this guy fights like he's poor. He comes forward and he tries to make a fight out of it, and he puts on entertaining performances. Rigondeaux, on the other hand, no. It's like he was always rich.
Well, yeah, I remember when Walters quit as well. Rigondeaux was on, I don't know if it was either Twitter or Instagram. Rigondeaux like roasted Walters, saying like, I'd never do that, like you're a disgrace and all that. And then he fucking goes and does it. Not only did he do it, he like fucking couldn't decide which hand was hurt when they first went to the camera first went to the corner, and then gets in the interview and fucking refuses to even give Lomachenko any credit. I mean, like fucking how many ways can you sort of like alienate every single person?
In Rigondeaux too, he might have grown up poor, but make no mistake, he was treated like a national treasure. He was cocky and conceited there. Remember, when he was put under house arrest, he got caught trying to leave. And I guess selling the medal was part of that because he wasn't getting any more money. But when you're an athlete down there, even though like the star baseball player will get $70 a week, which is insane money for them people in Cuba, he was treated, but their athletes are treated like, I mean, because they don't have much. So when they do have something that's good, they put it up on a pedestal. So he, you know, the government turned everybody against him. He did go through some shit there. But from the time he started boxing, he was a prodigy and he was wailing everybody. And because the images, you know, was their thing, he was put on a pedestal. So, yes, he might have been poor, but he had yes people, and he was a demigod since he was 14 years old. And he carried that along with the culture to here, and he feels he doesn't owe anybody here. Because in his heart, he's not an American. He's in his heart, if it was, he would learn the language. He would try to assimilate. He doesn't leave Miami. He stays in the fucking Cuba. And if he could, he would move back home. I believe that wholeheartedly. He treated the fans with disrespect. That whole, oh, I don't even know which hand. Dude, you didn't land a fucking punch to hurt your hand. You got talked into that fight. I don't think he really ever wanted it. I think it was more that he owed so many people money, which he still owes a lot of people money, because, you know, he was rigging out. And all these years when he's not fighting, he's still driving the fucking leasing the Benz and the tricked out fucking Mercedes ride and, you know, the house and shit. Somebody's going to pay for that. So he was borrowing money left and right. So I think he was forced into taking the biggest money fight, and that was Lomachenko. And he looked for the first. Once he knew he didn't stand a chance, he bailed. But that's my Rigondeaux rant.
It's Jimmy makes good points about all that stuff, and I just think that when it comes down to like the comparison of Rungvisai and Rigondeaux, the difference is it has a lot to do with culture. That's culture. Like they're both poor. Maybe Rungvisai is even more poor, but he knows how to conduct himself. He knows how to conduct himself like a decent human being. Where you're talking about Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux, even though he grew up poor, he grew up entitled. He grew up under a socialist regime, really that was very communist, a very communist regime where it's all about status. If I'm here, you're beneath me. You know what I'm saying? So he grew up with that. So it has a lot to do with culture. That is why Rungvisai can't quit. He cannot afford to quit. Where Rigondeaux, who really couldn't afford to quit because of his arrogance, but it was false arrogance. Once somebody stepped to his face and showed him, like, listen, there's nothing impressive about you, he folded. Because that was all false. That's not who he really was.
I don't think this being poor thing or coming from the rough streets.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Make any difference about what heart a man has.
Exactly.
Because Carl Froch is a middle class white boy from England, and that guy would never quit. I've seen him in war after war, getting clocked with clean shots, and he'll fight to the death. That guy.
But
and he's
behavior has a great indication, in my opinion, Stuart. Behavior has a great indication. You see these guys with real mean attitudes, false bravado. A lot of those guys are putting up a front. That's it. That's cultural. That's just to show you a front. Where you get a guy, look, the comparison of both of them being poor, maybe Rungvisai even more poor than a guy like than Rigondeaux. There's a difference in the way they carry themselves, right? So you can't use that. If I had to tell you, and this is not being racial. This has nothing to be racial. Who's more likely to commit a violent crime? I think if we all honestly, we would say Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux would be the one that looks like he's more capable of committing a violent crime because of his attitude, the way the false arrogance. He would have to prove something, right? He would more likely have to prove something where I can see him getting into a violent encounter where it gets him into a lot of trouble. Right, and they're both poor. They're both poor people. That false bravado, usually to me, all it takes is the right guy, and you'll see them fold up. They'll fold up. And also, the right guy was Lomachenko.
Sorry, I didn't mean to delay. BDA, I just wanted to tell you too, real quick. You know the rat story? How that went around real quick? How he ate rat. Right. I've been to Thailand, dude. Right? It's actually kind of a delicacy there, dude. It's not like no big. We think rat. We think big nasty sewer rat, right? No, they go to the rice fields. They catch them live, and they transport them live into the restaurant. And they're they drown them, and then they clean them there live, so there's no pestilence or anything. And it's sweet. It's a wicked sweet meat, and it's because obviously the population, humans have been doing it for years. So you hear that eating rat, you think, oh, these poor kids are clubbing rats in the sewer and shit. No, it's part of the culture. So I just when I first heard it, I was like, rat? Are you out of your fucking? And then when I saw it, it looked just like
fucking a rat, man. I said, fuck eating a rat. No way.
No, I know, but I'm just saying exactly. But it's
by the way,
you know what I mean?
By the way, YouTube has already said that the content from this video is not suitable for most advertisers.
Really? Why? Was that just
I don't know, man. No, I don't know what the fuck, man.
Are you kidding?
Are you serious, Mucho?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow.
We haven't even gotten into the.
We're gonna keep on going, man.
We haven't even gotten into the heavy stuff yet.
Current podcast that we're on now.
Yeah. All right, video. You want to say something?
We haven't even gotten into the heavy stuff. We haven't even gotten started yet.
Hold on. BDA.
Go ahead, BDA.
No, I'm just saying we haven't even gotten into the big stuff. We haven't even gotten started. We haven't even scratched the surface yet.
One never knows when the homosexual is about. He may appear normal, and it may be too late when you discover he is mentally ill.
Let it rip now.
There you go. Yeah, you wanna.
There's attention too earlier in the class.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yes, sir.
What's that?
Billy Joe Saunders v Demetrius Andrade is in Boston. Are you going to go check that fight?
No.
You're not going to check now?
No, I'm not. I'm more selective of the fights I go to. You know what I mean? At my age, I just don't want to deal with the fucking. No, I'm just.
I see Mickey Ward was at the press conference.
He'll be there. He'll be involved. Yeah. I'm just not. I was a big Andrade fan. He kind of really let me down, dude. I followed him as an amateur because he was, grew up in the Rhode Island, right? Yeah. A lot of people around here talked him up. In his personality, everything changed when he turned pro. So I don't want to shit talk him. I really don't, and I have nothing. I wish him nothing but the best. But I really didn't like the way he treated a few people. 2 local guys were good to him, but again, I'm not. You know what I mean? I choose not to support him now.
I must admit, like, you do speak like Mickey Ward. You two sound the same.
Yeah, we actually were the same height, same build, like natural build. I got bigger when I was, jacked up. But yeah, no, we people used to think you guys brothers were like 3 weeks apart in birth age. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
But just real quick, because you mentioned, Jimmy, the thing about eating rat. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was a delicacy there. And by the way, for everybody saying, "Well, I would never eat rat," he just told you that they're not. It's not city rats that they're eating. It's actually rural, rats that are.
Yeah, rice fields. They're gray and shit. I saw the whole procedure.
Fuck that.
And I was there. I wanted to see. Well, I figured I fucked it. The night before I was so.
Rat's a fucking rat, isn't it?
I love Stu's. I love Stu's reaction. He's like.
Oh, but hey, listen, that was Stu. That was on the tame side, bro. They had bugs. They were fucking. That was the thing. Everybody was freaking out for these big beetles, man. They were punching.
I tell you, the Chinese are the worst, mate.
The time, this was. I didn't go there, but
if it fucking moves, they'll eat it, won't they?
The Vietnamese are similar. I know what Stu means though. Like, even though it's different there, you just can't get it out of your head that it's a fucking rat. I mean,
it's the same thing with dog. You hear about people eating dog, you want to punch them in the face.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't. That makes me sick to my stomach. But they'll fucking eat anything. Like I said, if it moves, they'll eat it.
And I can understand in some ways you think about. I mean, just in my lifetime, dude. I mean, back in the 70s, man, they were dying they were counting them by the millions, literally starving to death, walking skeletons, like Stalin type shit. Yeah, so I guess when you're at that point, you learn to make everything taste good.
Yeah.
Anybody is offended?
Rats.
No, I just said because he was saying Rungry aside ate rat, and it makes it. It sounds like he was a poor kid in the alleys clubbing rats. When in actuality, it's mostly the local people eat it. It's like they're really into it.
Well, wasn't he eating trash?
Rummy side did grow up poor. He did grow up poor.
It's expensive in the restaurants too. Sorry to cut you off, dude.
But just his personality. I really don't know his personality, but it just seems like
It's a very machismo culture. It's weird. It's both ends of the spectrum. You can fucking wake up next to a fucking teenage fucking kimchi boy. They look like girls, dude. It's crazy. It's dangerous. You can't get too fucked up, I'm telling you. And then it's ultra fucking machismo. Like the men are fucking, everyone wants to fist fight you. The guys there, like somebody, a serviceman told me, guys here either want to fight you or fuck you. He goes, there's no in between, and it's so true. It's a very machismo culture. But then when you go down in the fucking party town, you really got to pull the skirts up. Because it's hard to check. We love you long time, bitches.
It's gonna be all right, Nick. Go ahead, shoot.
What the fuck is that? I'm like,
Remember the Deer Hunter? That scene where they're playing Russian roulette?
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That was good.
By the way,
No, Nicky.
Oh, sorry, I'm having
we would like to
Vietnam flashbacks
apologize
here.
if anybody is offended by what we were talking about of other cultures. We would just
Well,
like to
hold
apologize
on.
for that.
Butcher, where did you see that we're being where did you see that?
On the
Very
stream?
smart.
In the stream,
Yeah.
it says monetization has been limited due to
Well, I
content
don't know.
identified as not suitable for most advertisers.
Oh, did somebody say
something?
fuck?
You know what I wanted to bring this up to you now that you guys brought it up. I like on some of the videos that I did, right? I noticed that they're taking away views. I never seen this in my life. They actually taking away the views. Like, let's say for instance, yesterday I had 150 views. Well, today I wake up, I got 90 views on that same video. How do you lose views? I'm wondering, did I curse? Do they penalize you for that? I don't know how they do this whole thing. I've never really paid attention to YouTube guidelines, but yeah, man.
Algorithms. Bullshit. They're censoring.
Yeah.
I hear they're bringing out a new social network where a few companies are getting together and building like a new Google to compete with Facebook and that lot, and this is going to be all about free speech and
I'm with that.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta go to Twitter headquarters, right? Go to Twitter headquarters, or you go to fucking Google headquarters, right? It's Silicon Valley, blue-haired, fucking androgynous-looking freaky chicks and little cucky half-a-man fucking creeps, and they're the ones determining what's exactly. So think about it, dude. Right? The fucking liberal cesspool of the fucking country, and they're determining what's right or not.
Yeah, they're like,
you know what I mean?
That's hate speech, you cracker.
But hold on. I mean, to be fair,
Oh my
to
God!
be fair,
They're not using proper pronouns.
But to be fair,
of hate speech, they're giving hate speech at the same time.
I know.
Oh yeah, right. The left is all over that, but they're all silent as a motherfucker about South Africa. Yeah, but the left got nothing to say. Don't even get me going about South Africa. That fucking shit,
you don't
huh?
want to get
Man, it's gonna
the
collapse.
leader, hey, the leader, the EFF. They're in it. I just saw it last night in the news. They're chanting. This is a chant. There's tens of thousands of people
Kill the
chanting.
Boers. Kill
Yeah,
the Boers.
kill the white man. Kill the Boers. Kill the white man. Shoot to kill. Shoot to kill the white man. They kept singing it. I'm like, this is insane. And they're killing white farmers. And then the best of all,
scapegoats. It's just scapegoating because the government is so corrupt that people are going to start finding out, like going after the government. So the government is not diverting their attention by going, no. It's the white people's fault, and then go after the white people. They're the problem. When it's while they attack white people, the government is fucking robbing the people from their money, man.
But this is going to be
the South African government, Marxists, and this is what happens when you let Marxists run your country. I mean, they're just mentally insane.
It's gonna affect all of us.
Well,
what's going to happen?
They better pay attention to what happened to Rwanda when they did that.
Zimbabwe, I think it was.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
They
better pay attention to what happened to Zimbabwe. Remember, after they killed all the farmers and all that, they all starved.
Well, that's what I was. Yeah, a third of Africa is fed by South Africa.
Yeah,
by South Africa right now. That's a third of it. So that's their breadbasket down there. And the thing is, the land, the 2% that they've already expropriated. You know what? When it was given back to black people, you know what half of done? Sold them to Chinese and Russians.
Yeah,
because they can't farm it. They can't farm it. They're small farmers. These black farmers that get the new farms, they're not used to industrial farming, right? They're used to like having little land. So they get
exactly.
Yeah. They're doing their
and the worst
economy
part
a lot
is,
harm.
and then you see
Doing
the
their economy a lot
signs.
harm, though.
We want our land back. Now, just the fact you start at that premise right there, we want it back. When the boys originally went there, by the time they got to that land, the indigenous people were wiped out. The Zulu.
No, not only that, it's parts of South Africa that there was nothing. There was nothing there.
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing there. The boys. So if you actually wrap your head around the way they started their own system down there, they actually busted their ass. They turned it green. They created a fucking a sanctuary in the desert. Tens of thousands of black came down from the north to get jobs in this utopia that white people designed. 200 years later, they're killing them and saying, we want our land back. Wrap your head around that. And the leftist media is sitting here doing nothing about it. You know why? Because they hate Trump so much, they're going to let this atrocity happen. It's just getting out of control.
And also, the US doesn't want to backlash.
I was reading somewhere that the South African economy is taking a big hit for it because a lot of big companies from the West are pulling out because of their policy towards the farmers. So it's not just going to hurt them agriculturally; it's going to hurt them economically as well. And so they're going to end up like Zimbabwe, where they're carrying a wheelbarrow of money to buy a loaf of bread.
That's why I agree with Floyd Mayweather when he says, why should I help out Africa? They ain't never do nothing for me. He's right.
Hey, no, but guys,
okay, last thing, Jimmy, because we have to move on from this subject, I think.
All right. No, I just wanted to say, and this was not even about this. I was just going to say about the subject. I think it's cool that I can come on the show in that stew. You guys are also well read. You guys, like, if I was to talk about this with the average people around here, they're no. It's awesome. It's really cool that you guys are also. You guys know your facts. There's no dummies here. You guys know your shit. It's impressive.
White genocide that never existed.
No. All right.
I just want to say thank you for that.
Nope. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, ElDude?
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why BDA has not been accepted for advertisement.
Exactly.
Jesus, man. I feel
the last 5 minutes is just answer that question.
Whatever. We speak our minds here.
It's crazy. You know what's sad? Don't think about it. We're apologizing for saying facts right now. We're actually saying,
exactly. It's so stupid.
And all we did was talk about the history, the actual factual history of South Africa.
I'm not.
Because of that, now but you know what I'm saying? Like, we're like, we got
to. I'm just going to say one thing. I'm just going to say I'm not apologizing to YouTube or any of them. F them. I'm apologizing to if I get them in trouble is BDA and Bucho. That's it.
No. I'm just saying we have to talk a little bit about boxing because this show is gonna go on iTunes.
I always say that. I'm sorry, dude.
It's fine. I mean, this is how the show goes, right? We talk boxing and then we talk about other stuff and then boxing.
I got to keep that in my mind. Okay.
Oh man, actually, I just joined in. I thought you guys were talking about Doug Bow and shit because you guys were talking about Africa. But if you want to keep it in the topic. Doug Bow, like honestly, man, I just fucking joined in, man. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. But I thought you guys were talking about Doug Bow. And like we always do, we talk about a certain topic, and we kind of veer off.
I was talking about the Boas, but they're not Doug Bow.
But Isaac Doug Bow, man. If you guys saw, I saw that fight on ESPN Plus.
Yeah,
Isaac Doug Bow, he knocked out Nori Otaka. That guy was no joke, man, because he also had an impressive record. He had like 30-something wins, 3 losses. Only one of those losses came by like a knockout. The other 2 by decision. But Doug Bow destroyed him in the first round, man. Just completely.
Yeah, I know. Scott Quick beat the shit out of that jab. I mean, he's useless. He really is. He's just. You could see straight away. Doug Bow is a problem though. This guy is a serious problem. He's like a Sean Porter with a lot better technique and a lot more.
Pound for pound, power wise.
A lot more weapons.
That's a good comparison. Yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is strong.
Short.
He hits hard. He's lovely technique in his shots, then body shots. I mean, I watched they showed Magdaleno fight just before the fight last night, and he really impressed me in that fight. He beat the shit out of Magdaleno.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. That. I mean, that's when he proved this. That's when he proved his ground to me when he defeated Magdaleno.
This guy's a serious problem. I mean, I really like watching him fight, and he fights out the UK as well. It's a shame that Hearn and Warren didn't snap this kid up. Because you can even hear his English accent. Obviously, I'm not going to claim him. He's an African. I'll give you that. But he fights out the UK, and it's just a shame that one of the big promoters didn't pick this guy up because he could be a big name in the UK. Definitely.
And you know what his size is? He's 5'3", and not to take anything away from Otavo, but he was 5'7". You know, so he could handle himself with the bigger pose as well.
All right, on boxing, let me pose a question to you guys. Now, hear me out real quick. 3 months ago, Effie, I can't say his last name, so somebody correct me on that later. But Effie, Ajagba, okay, Ajagba,
like that.
Is that the guy that had his opponent walk out on him?
Yeah. Well, exactly. So 3 months ago, he spanks a dude, right? puts him out viciously. His kid Long. I mean, I think I said, remember they took him out. He was a parking lot attendant. They just threw gloves on him. I mean, but this kid's got devastating power. I heard about him. He's Nigerian, 6'5", built like, I mean, this kid he's training out of the
like
suddenly.
Tank.
He's built like, and he's training. And Ronnie Shields told people that he hits harder and he's never felt anybody hits as hard as this kid. And that's coming from Shields. And he's down in his showers. All right, so now who signs him last year, right? Richard Schaefer, Tricky Dick. Now,
I think Jimmy dropped off by. Yeah. Just to say real quick something about that Jagba. He's a freak. 6'5", 88-inch arm reach. Think about that for a second. 88 inches of arm reach. That's his width. That's his wingspan. 88 inches.
What's his name, guys? Somebody, sorry.
Ife Ajagba.
Yeah, this guy apparently hits really hard.
Freak too, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know what he's gonna turn out to be, but if this kid gets good, if somebody teaches him,
he looks scary.
Experience. He looks like he'll wipe out. He looks like he'll wipe out. He looks like he could if he had experience, right? He looks like he could wipe out Joshua and Wilder. Let's see if he could get that far. Let's see if he can get the experience in without getting his confidence broken or an injury. This kid looks. He's a Nigerian kid. He's a Nigerian.
Oh, yeah, he's very, very, very strong. And this is his name. I'm starting to hear a lot about this kid. He's a unit, and that's for sure. But it's a bit early to say yet because technically, I think he's a bit short. But this guy, it carries ridiculous power. Apparently, if he can get the technique right, then.
He's seeing, but Stu, it's effortlessly. Now these are bums that he's hitting. I get that.
Yeah.
But the power there's no effort. It's just like, you know what he's not. You know how most boxers we like to go, you know that when we throwing out punches, he doesn't even do that, and you can hear it.
Yeah. Some fighters just have that power where they just got to graze your head.
Yeah,
and it rocks you to your boots.
Yeah, when I throw punches, I do the Francois Botha thing.
The what?
Do you remember Francois Botha, the boxer, when he threw punches, he used to scream. He used to go like,
yeah.
I remember when Lennox Lewis beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, I remember that too.
That reminds me also of Baby Bull Diaz. He was another fighter who was screaming.
Oh yeah.
Hey, did I say it?
Baby Bull, unfortunately for him, man, I always felt that he could have punched harder. I don't know why.
Yeah, man. He was like kind of flabby.
There's something missing about him, right? Like there was just
muscle, man. Or something.
You know what it was, Matrix? You know what it was? He was young. He wasn't fully developed when he was thrown into the wolves and shit, man.
That's true. That is true, man. He was.
Hey, Jimmy's back. Jimmy,
so where did I hang up? Do you know? Because I was at my daughter.
You were asking me a question.
Richard Schaefer signed the guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Richard Schaefer signs this dude, right? Signs him last year. He's very high on him. We went over that. He's fucking jacked. He's got crazy power. So, fights 3 months ago, it got 300 retweets. It got 400 likes. The tweet from last night, it's the highest retweet in PBC history. It's at over 10,000 retweets. It's got almost 1.5 million views, just a tweet alone. It was the lead story in sports on ESPN. It led the news cycle for a whole 24 hours. And fucking, you go on boxing and on Google, and 2 pages of just him walking out of the ring. So let me pose this to you. Why, if he's so angry about his contract, would he get all the way into the ring? And if that was really it, why did he wait until the bell rang? Because once the timekeeper gets notified, because I'm so angry about this contract, but I'm going to make sure you get the win. Because if he would have walked out before the bell rang, then what's his name it gets nothing in his column. Now he gets the win. And another thing, why didn't anybody from his corner chase after him? If that was just spur of the moment. And why did he take the longest? Why did he take the most dramatic way out? He walked up the stairs, slow, proud as beacock. I'm telling you right now, that was a fucking bag job by Schaefer, and it was brilliant because he wants to fast track this kid. And it's all about name recognition. It's not about how many fights you got. It's did the public know you? And that was brilliant what he did. Instead of knocking out a slob and fucking getting 300 retweets and doing that for 4 or 5 more fights, he just got this kid.
Campbell, I'm sorry, Jimmy Campbell, his trainer was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" You could see his face. It's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
But why didn't nobody chase him? Why did he walk out the most? Like, and if he's that angry, why did he sit there? I'm fucking. This sucks. I'm getting ripped off. But I'm going to make sure you get your win, though. I'm going to wait because the minute that ref points to that bellkeeper, that's what I'm saying. That was a bad job. He was a retired. He was a retired dude. What?
The guy's a piece of shit for doing that.
But I think he was paid to do it. That was part of the whole thing. He was paid to fucking walk out.
The kid didn't come all the way from Florida to where was that fight? Where was he?
It was in Wisconsin.
Yeah, he didn't go all the way to Wisconsin for nothing. Trust me, he got something.
She tweeted about it within 5 minutes. She had a little hashtag going. I'm outie with the peace sign. It was a bag job. Think about it. It was the lead story. Has everybody talking about him? And then it gave
confused,
to his power. What?
I'm confused. What's the story that I'm confused about this now. So you're saying that they paid this guy to walk out the ring?
Yes, Schaefer did. He was retired, dude.
Why would he do that, though?
All right, this is why. Say you own this kid, you put a lot of money into him. You know he can go pretty much right now with almost anybody. He's got devastating power. Ronnie Shields is in your ear saying this kid could take out Wilder now. He's only got 5 fights. How can I get – because it's not about the amount of fights. As you know, it's name recognition, right? The people know him. If he would have knocked out – so he scheduled the fight. He knocks that slob out in the first round, which he would have, like he did 3 months ago. Nobody would have talked about it. Yeah. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? So instead, Stu, right? Check it out. He pays him to walk out. It so builds up this kid's aura. Like, oh my God, this guy's so frightening. People walk out of the ring. He took the most dramatic way out of the ring, up the stairs, nice and slow, and then fucking, like I said, dude, it was off. And then he waited for the bell to ring, too. If you're so mad at your opponent who's running the show and you're so mad at him, why would you wait for the fucking ref? He could have walked out at any time, but he points, the ref points, gling, and then he goes, okay, this is my cue. Because, hey, listen, I'm so angry, but I'm going to still make sure you get that win in your column. It was a bad job, and it was a brilliant.
Jimmy, if that's the case, then boxing officially has become the WWE. I mean,
Richard Schaefer, dude, right?
Where the guy's walking out the ring so he gets more retweets.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
That's what they have to do to build fighters up, though. Then boxing
that's what they're doing.
Way.
Yeah, that's
in a fucking bad way.
It's in a bad way for sure.
You've talked about Schaefer, dude. Schaefer is If I was in an elevator with Adolf Hitler, Charles Manson, and Richard Schaefer, and I only had 2 bullets, right? I'd shoot fucking Schaefer twice. You know what I'm saying? That motherfucker, dude.
I'm chilling with Hitler.
Dude, that motherfucker. That dude is a fucking snake, man.
I'm chilling with Hitler.
Hey, you know what? He's like, you know what I'm saying, right? Listen, I don't mind working with De La Hoya, he says.
Dude, that fucking was. But it was. If you think about it, name recognition. Nobody would have done this, dude. I
did what he did to De La Hoya and still say, "Yeah, I don't want to work."
Yeah, I don't mind.
This guy is
dude, it's insane.
I'll tell you what, though, he's a snowflake. He's a snowflake as well. When Eddie Hearn did an impression of him, he got all butthurt and all upset about it. The man's a fucking typical. Well, I won't say it.
Well, he's like a Swiss banker or some shit.
He's a typical
snowflake.
Merchant. He's a typical merchant. Yeah.
Just tell you the point. The local radio station here, 98.5, if that was a world championship fight, a great one, they wouldn't have talked about it, right? They talked about that on this show. Mm-hmm. Dude, it was nothing you could have done would have given that kid more press, built up his aura. That was, listen, it was brilliant, but at the same time, slimy as all outdoors.
Hey, Jimmy, bro, let me just throw my 2 punches real quick, brother. Like it's all speculation and shit, right? Like I'm a
that's just my own thing. It's just conversation, right?
I know, but my own personal opinion, I was under the impression that Homeboy got short-handed at the end. Like they offered him like a low-paying shit that he took, might have gotten short-handed at the end. He wasn't expecting that, and he was pissed off. And the only reason why wait for the no, but let me finish, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
just let me finish real quick. And the only reason that he decided to walk out after the bell ring was because he didn't want to hurt his opponent in his own personal strike against the company. You know what I mean? Like, to walk out wouldn't have given him the win. It would have made him, it would have hurt both.
He would have got nothing.
Yeah, but out of respect, I think he waited till the bell to ring to walk out.
But why would you? But if you have so much, but if that's so much disrespect to your opponent, listen, if he really trained and actually thought he was going to fight him that night, isn't it just fucking boatloads of disrespect to do what you do, show your back, and just walk out without explanation? But I'm so angry at you and your camp for shorting me, but I'm going to wait till you make sure you get this in your column. No, he would have just bailed. And then he stood right at the fucking ropes. He waited for that bell. Bling! He dove out of it. And then nobody moved.
Part of it was the fear. Part of it was also the fear. This guy knew he was going to get knocked the fuck out. And he probably got short-handed.
Did you hear what you just said? Bingo, brother. Thank you. Yeah. Part of the fear. So that's the perception now, especially not like us where we're not casuals. But to a casual fan who heard that on the radio, wow, a guy walked over on who's this kid? Kids are in the car, they're fucking putting in Effie, what was his name? Listen, there was nothing short of taking out a pistol and shooting that slob that Effie could have done to get him more press here in the States. That's all I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't put it past Schaefer at all.
Well, let me add a couple of things here. Let me just...
It's not going to... You know, it put a little bit on his mystique and shit, but definitely on the long run, it's not going to help him because he didn't get no rounds in the
Well, this is all speculation.
But when the rounds anyways, he would not do it the first time he hit him.
I've got to agree with Jimmy. I've got to agree with Jimmy here. There's no way this guy, Curtis Harper, whatever, he's had like 20-odd fights or whatever. He's 30. I think he's been in with Ariola, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
There's no way this guy actually through fear has just walked out of the ring.
No way.
A guy's been fighting. I do not buy that.
Yeah, when you've been boxing,
like I said, it was part of it was fear, but part of it, I believe he was short-handed. I believe
boxing as long as these guys have, you're not afraid. I mean, you might go into the ring thinking you're going to lose, but you're not really afraid.
Yeah. I don't think so. You got to be realistic. If this guy was
offered, guys.
You know, a certain amount of money, then he got short-handed at the end.
But how do you get short-handed?
Yeah,
but
what's the possibility?
But the thing is, though, surely you sign a contract.
Hold on, one at a time.
One at a time.
You sign the contract. You sign the contract beforehand. It's like doing a plumbing job. You can't agree to a price, and then when the customer pays you, like, no, I do. You know, I want more. Do you know what I mean? It just don't work like that. You know.
There's lawyers. Yeah, exactly.
So
it's a contract.
Once you sign that contract, once you sign the contract, you take the fight. And then that guy who walked down the ring. Can I?
No, I understand, man. I totally understand. But at the end of the day, he's an employee, and he's a stepping stone. So he's expected to get paid a certain amount of money. Maybe he's tired of getting. It's like a crash dummy. He's a crash dummy, huh?
Well, he came out of retirement for this. He got knocked out. Came out of retirement.
This might be his way asking for a raise. Because this is their job.
He's never going to fight again. Nobody's going to put him on a card,
but here's the thing. Here's the problem that I have. Do you really think? Come on. Do you really think this guy?
But he still gets paid
to not get paid?
No, but he still gets paid. That's the thing. He still gets paid when the bell rang.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does. The bell rang. It's officially a loss.
No. Not only. Okay, I'm sorry.
If the bell rings, it's an official win for his opponent.
Effie got paid.
In every state,
Effie got paid.
In every state that you fight in, there are provisions in your contract of what you can do not to get paid. There's things that you can do that not, like for instance, you say you don't want to fight. Like if I go fight night, right, and I say I want to fight, I'm scheduled to fight fucking Usyk, and then I get there and I say no, I'm not going to fight Usyk. They're not paying me.
No, you don't get paid. No,
they don't give you the money.
Fucking charity.
Because it's in your contract, and it says
exactly. No, it's. I didn't get paid in images.
I've known fighters to lose their purse for not performing.
Yeah,
I didn't get paid in the images.
In New York State,
no, but see, that's all speculation because we don't know if his contract said
intent. In New York State,
we don't know. No, but I don't understand. But if the contract says it has to be an official round,
ElDude,
no, but let's go straight to the rules of boxing. The rules of boxing say that if an opponent walks out of the ring, he's automatically disqualified.
Do you know who writes contracts? Do you know who writes the contracts? Nothing about.
But contracts cannot.
Hold on. One at a time, guys. Please, guys. We're all over the place tonight.
Listen, all right. Please, will you stop talking over me, dude? Jesus.
Yeah, listen, guys, it's happening. Everybody's doing it.
I know, but every time, I mean, I wait for, maybe it's me, I'm hearing pauses, but I get 2 words out and he just blurts right over me.
No, it's the fucking Hangouts. It's the fucking Hangouts. And it's happening to me too.
Lawyers write contracts, and in every contract, there's, like Stu just said, and like Rick and I said, there's provisions. You don't walk out of the ring and get paid. I swore to, I was an amateur. They used to pay us in the amateurs when we fought. But I swore to fucking, I didn't get my $12, which is a joke, but whatever. But they can hold back a purse. And there's no boxing rules don't govern purse. A contract's between 2 promoters. You got to go by the rules set by that particular state, meaning that's only the medical rules. But whatever purse you decided between the 2 camps has nothing to do with, there's no, we got to go by the boxing rules. No, this is what you decided you'll take for this fight, and this is what he'll say.
You answer your own question.
And then in every contract, there is pages of if you get caught doing dope. If you get caught, on top of that, there's paragraphs where if we find out you pissed dirty hot later, we can come after you for double. You know what I'm saying? I've read enough of them. I used to see Mickey's all the time. Believe me, that dude didn't get paid. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Let me rebut it just simply because you're going on a whole different subject. We're not talking about PDs. We're not talking about he cheated.
No, I'm talking about contracts.
Let me rebuttal. You don't know if his pay was taken away. You're speculating. And all I'm saying is the reason he chose to walk out of the ring after the bell rang, because that's in his mind, he's officially making an ending to the fight where it's an official win for his opponent and an official loss for him. If you would have waited, if you would have waited before the bell, if you would have waited before the bell, he would have never got paid from the get-go.
So wait a minute. So you're saying he waited for the bell to ring so he could get paid himself?
Why would he walk out before? Why would he walk out before?
Exactly, because then it would have went against Effie. Effie wouldn't have got it was all about making sure Effie got that 6th win. That was a part of the agreement.
Who's yelling here, brother? I mean, who's yelling? You're yelling over me when I'm not even finished my topic. You said you just said that Richard Schaefer brother, let me finish.
Microphone.
Brother, let me finish.
But you're talking nonsense, brother. Talking nonsense.
Let me finish, brother. You just said that Richard Schaefer paid this guy to walk out of the ring.
I said that's my speculation. That was my opinion. That's what I said from the beginning.
I said that's speculation. To walk out of the ring, he wouldn't have got paid to walk out of the ring before the bell rang.
No, but okay, hold on, guys. Are we really gonna be fucking talking about this? I mean, are we really fighting over this?
Let me ask you guys a question right here. Let me ask you a question. Did you guys see the Jose Pedraza fight versus Ray Beltran? We go off that, because we're going there.
Nope.
I thought it was a pretty good fight.
I just want to get onto one thing quickly. I don't believe any promoter is going to pay a guy to walk out of a fight. I just don't think. If he got paid on the side, then so be it. It covers his wages, but he's going to get sued. He's going to get sued, and he's going to lose the money that he made. So,
and by the way, nobody here said
situation for him.
Exactly, and nobody here said that they know exactly what happened, because nobody knows exactly.
I was saying it was speculation. And Stu,
exactly.
And Stu, know what I'm going to do? Because what I'm going to do too, right? Like you just said, normally, say if Schaefer wasn't in on that, like you just said, very important thing you said there, there'll be a lawsuit filed. So there'll be a lawsuit for 2 reasons. One would be, say, if it wasn't a contract where he did have to wait for the bell, right, to match which I apologize for yelling. I got my dog. I'm on a speaker thing. So I think because I can't hear myself, so I apologize for that. That was ignorant. I apologize. Okay. Secondly, but he waited for the bell because he had to give it, like I said to him. I lost my train of thought. But no, dude. So they would freeze they would set a lawsuit.
Oh, I knocked you out, brother. Come on, you got knocked out.
To freeze the no. What?
Yeah, we're really gonna. Well, hold on. Are we really gonna?
Who's gonna tell her? Oh, Mickey was gonna fucking.
Hold on.
Take the loss. This is the fucking.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let me say something here. I gotta say something. I gotta say. All right, Bucha, you gotta help me. Hold on, guys. Oh fuck! It's gonna go this way. This is the way it's gonna go. Sorry, guys. I mean, I can't. What do you want from me? Hold on a second. Yeah. All right, I muted the last 15 seconds, so nobody heard because it was all just screaming. It was like we were in a fucking whorehouse in here, and I couldn't hear anything. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. All right, fucking ElDude, you're trolling a little bit here because that comment was unnecessary. The last one where you went, come on, dude, you got knocked out. Learn how to take an out. That was unnecessary. Come on, it's not even an important topic we're talking about.
I tried to change the subject and he's going
no,
to
I wasn't. But listen, ElDude, you don't control what I'm going to fucking say. So let's establish that right here. Okay, so you don't have to worry about what fucking direction my conversation's going. I was saying, listen, shut the fuck up.
Hold on. Let me just say something here. And by the way, ElDude, hold on. Everybody, please. I come on. Is this gonna go? I'm gonna have to mute again. Hold on. Please. Let's act like civilized gentlemen here. All right? Otherwise, I'm going to have to pull out a baseball bat a la Al Capone. All right, here's the deal. We don't just change the subject whenever we want. It's when everybody or when I had to make or Bucho makes an executive decision and then we say we move on. All right? Second of all, this is all harmless speculation fun. We're positing theories here. Obviously, like Bucho said, and Jimmy said it himself, nobody knows. We're not privy to the contracts that are being held out. So if we want to speculate, let's speculate. Now, again, those comments like, oh, come on, dude, learn how to take an L. You got knocked out. Like, come on. We're speculating here, conspiracy theories. Those comments, nobody's winning, losing here. It's all just a back and forth fun conversation.
How many times do I apologize?
Let me just rebuttal real quick. Let me rebuttal because
Can I say something about contracts that I know personally from boxing contracts?
Yeah, go ahead, recognize.
No, let me just rebuttal real quick.
Okay,
I'm not talking about the contract.
In New York.
I was just gonna say that.
Yo, dude, are you on speed, man? Are you on speed, ElDude? Are you on speed? Because you sound like you're on fucking coke or something, man.
No, I'm saying because I wanted to answer back to what Butcher was asking.
I saw that.
No,
Butcher wasn't asking shit.
Butcher made a comment towards me, and I was gonna just answer it back real quick.
Go ahead. Okay. The one thing I know about boxing contracts.
Wait. Who's going? Bucho. Who did you say? All right, listen. ElDude wants to say something real quick, and he sounds like he's on something, so he can probably talk fast. Go ahead, ElDude.
No, I'm sorry, guys. It's kind of hard when we're all talking over each other. No, I thought you were asking. I think you made a comment. You wanted a response from me, and I was just trying to answer it. I didn't know.
No, I didn't ask I didn't ask a question. I just said that the comment you made about taking an L. I mean, come on, we're having a fun conversation here. It's not about winning or losing. It's not a debate.
The only reason I brought up Beltran versus that because you mentioned that we have to get away from the subject because it was all speculation. And
that's not what he said. That's not
what I said.
I just don't think. Hold on a minute, Jimmy. I just don't.
Wait.
Let's go finish.
Can I speak, please? I just don't think you got Jimmy's. I don't think you got Jimmy's point. I don't think you got Jimmy's point out, dude. He wasn't saying this is a definite thing that happened. He was saying that this is his theory, and this what could be the point. But you were just getting butthurt.
But he's going in circles.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Circles after Bucho said, "Let's change the subject."
But that's not what Bucho said. He said change the subject when we were talking about South Africa. So if that's how you're at, dude, if that's how you are, you revisionism, you just change history. Bucho said this. Okay, and listen, okay, and when I talk over people, all the time, play back anytime I'm on, I'm always, I'm sorry, Stu, I'm sorry, guys. I over apologize because you know why? I try to treat everybody on Twitter on this shit like I do in person. I'm just how I am, dude. I'm a very polite person. But I'll tell you right now. Listen, I'm sensitive, nothing. I'm telling you right now. If you were in my face and you said, "Take your L," you got knocked out, dude. Just trust me right now, dude. You and I would have had a disagreement, real quick. Yeah, you're a fine.
Jimmy, can I say one thing, Jimmy? ElDude, Jimmy and ElDude. I just want to say one thing about this whole thing. We don't know what happened there. Exactly. I can tell you, although I do agree on Jimmy's possible theory. Okay, now I'm going to say this. Okay, in New York State in the 90s, this I happen to know factual. Okay, when it comes to boxing contracts, there's the promoters agreement, and then there's also the State Athletic Commission agreement. Okay, New York State Athletic Commission agreement is this. There's a lot of shit there, but one of them is, for the integrity of the sport, if we find out you threw a fight intentionally, we could withhold your pay.
We'll go to court.
Okay,
but we don't know that for sure yet.
No, but
nobody knows.
Jimmy. ElDude, what I'm saying is, New York State has one. You don't think other states have one? So
I know the rules.
For the integrity of the sport. So if I find out that, and it says it very clear, whether you were coerced to do so, that means somebody paid you, right? More than likely, or you did this in your own will. You did this in, if they find out that they can withhold. So that point of you saying that he met his obligations, no, him walking out, if they can prove.
No, I never said he made his obligations, brother. I never said he made his obligations. Right. I said he tried to go by the rule books.
Okay.
What's the rule books? Why don't you quote the rule books to us?
Rule books is this. Rule books is this. Just to answer your question. If a fighter turns his back on the other fighter, he just gets disqualified.
Right. What if that fighter threw the fight? What if they can prove he threw the fight?
Those are speculations.
No. What if they can prove through an investigation, because it says it clearly?
Of course, I agree with you.
So what
I'm not ignorant to the fact of crime.
What I'm asking you.
I know the crime. When the crime takes place, of course.
Hold on.
What would happen under that provision?
I said I'm not ignorant to crime, but that we don't. Right. But he has not gone to court yet. Let's stick to the facts.
But see, I'm like you. But see, now what I'm going to do, I believe it's Marion, the county they fought in, right? It's public domain. I'll go online at the end of next week. My girlfriend's, she's turning. Anyways, I'm going to find out what's the rules. How long does Schaefer have, the promoter record, have to file? I believe it's 30 days, meaning if dickhead goes and tries to cash his check or whatever, say he wants to block the paycheck or I'm not going to pay you, and then the kid says fuck you, you have to file paperwork, like Stu said.
Jimmy, you brought up a good point. Jimmy,
so
you brought up a good
check
point.
The courts to see if he filed the paperwork.
Hey Jimmy, you brought up a good point right now, brother. You brought up a great point right now. If in 30 days there is no lawsuit against Harper, it means that Richard Schaefer paid him off, just like you were suggesting. If there is a lawsuit, then it somewhat, proves what I'm suggesting, that he waited to the bell to ring because he tried to cash in.
All right, so there we go, guys.
It could be with both. And I'm just saying, it sounded good because, hey, check it out. We're fighting about it. Stu, I'm sorry, I'm going to let you go right now. We're talking about that fight, right? People are talking about it all over the place. I'm just saying, if you were Schaefer and you had all this money invested and you wanted to cash in on all this, look at this, all these guys up there, the tens of millions being thrown around in the heavyweight division and nobody's trying to grab it, right? Let's be honest. Here's a kid who I guarantee will fight any one of them, but he's only got 5 fights. But I got to get his name out there. What can I do? Okay, you couldn't destroy anybody worse than he destroyed the kid 3 months ago. I mean, it was probably the worst knockout I've seen. It was devastating. This kid has devastating power. He's the type of person that fucking fans will eat up. You just got to give him name recognition. And all I was saying, as slimy as a move as it would be, I wouldn't put it past Schaefer, who would fuck a snake if somebody held it down long enough for him. That's all. And it's all speculation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
all right, now we can move on.
Here's the point, man. It's fucking entertaining like a motherfucker. BDA.
Yeah, now we can move on. Now we can move on. All right, so there you go. There you go.
Let's move on.
As long as at the end of the day we can all agree that it's an interesting,
good conversation.
Oh, we got apology man on the line. You know what that means?
Speak of the devil, and it shall appear.
She just wanted the drama and you two to fight over her. That's what women do. All of you.
Bitches are stupid. I treat them like shit. That's how you get one to eat a dick. Never be sweet to a bitch.
Alright, so that's... By the way, you really do need to listen to that song, Apology, because it sums you up to a T. That's why I chose it. Alright, so now we can move on off of this fucking subject. And by the way, recognize before I get on to apology. Did you say that Nate Campbell was training the fat guy that walked off of the fight?
Yeah, I believe it was him. Yeah.
All right, because we've been trying to get Nate Campbell on the show. I'm a big fan of his. Always was a big fan of his while he was fighting. We sent him a message via Twitter or Facebook, was it? But I don't. He's not on there all that often, so I don't think. So I want the BDA guys out there. You guys know who you are, or sleeper cells. I want you to go out and spread the word. We want Nate Campbell on the show.
Like, man.
Well, I'm not saying that.
Be careful.
Be careful.
BDA Pavel.
What's that?
Do you mean Pavel?
Oh yeah, Pavel.
I'll fucking right. I'll be a BDA insurgent.
No.
Yeah.
Stop using that. Don't use that word, man. Don't use that word.
Pavel's like the Polish equalizer, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Pavel's is that the kid from Poland, right? He's a good conservative boy. I like him.
Well, we all have the conservative values here, and it's interesting because actually now that you mention it, let's start using words like insurgent and all that, because then maybe YouTube will start monetizing us again if we start talking about Muslim stuff.
You just listen. Start the show off like this. Men suck. Trump's a Nazi. Just say a few lines like that, and you'll get fucking monetized.
I'm a master representing transgender lesbian.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, we could use that.
Trump sucks. Trump sucks. He's a Nazi. Gay is sexual liberation, and let's move on from there. Yeah.
And all Americans, all they're doing is crying and confessing and complaining. A bunch of fucking pussies. Fuck them.
All right, now hold on a second.
My man, Tony.
Did anyone catch that? Did anyone catch that farce? KSI v Logan, Paul.
Oh, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, I thought
that was fixed.
Why would I watch that?
Apparently they made
I'm addicted to boxing.
I saw today they made 150 million.
Oh.
Yep. Who made 150 million?
These two YouTube guys got together at a fight, 6 3-minute rounds. One's got 18 million subs, the other's got 19, I think. Damn. And one was training in the Mayweather gym, and English v American, and they fought last night. It was a draw, and it was a bit of a shit fest.
They both lost. You mean?
No, it was a bit of a shit fest. They made 100.
They got the rematch coming back.
Yeah, they made 150 million, man. Fuck's sake.
What do you mean? That's what they shared?
No, it was a pay-per-view. Yeah, they share it. 50-50.
10 bucks on YouTube.
Mucho, go ahead.
10 bucks on YouTube, man.
Wait a second. Time out. You're telling me two non-boxers got into a boxing fight and split.
And I paid 10 bucks for it, yeah.
Split $150 million purse.
Yeah.
Okay, boxing. Boxing is officially dead. It's dead.
Thank you. But listen, Richard Schaefer, that's what I'm saying. Brilliant. When he talks fight, we talk as fans. We think of like fans. You look at Richard Schaefer, he hates boxing, I bet. He realized, why do you think boxing attracts the slimiest geniuses? Because it's open season. It's the Wild West from Don King. They know how to manipulate it. So they come in, and John Schaefer, why would a fucking Swedish banker get involved with boxing? Because he knew he could make money. And everywhere he went, look at one scam after another. HBO almost into the toilet, still hasn't bounced back. Fucking, you know what I mean? He went with Golden Boy, got a big payout with Heyman to bounce, waited his 2 years, started at WBC. And I'm telling you, I wouldn't put it past him, that's all.
Is he from Sweden?
Yes.
No, Switzerland.
I'm sorry, Switzerland. A Nordic country.
Do you know those guys made more than Muslim fighters make?
Fuck. Who?
KSI and Logan. They make more than him has.
Hey, that PewDiePie. I was reading that PewDiePie. He's got 60 million subs. I think he gets 200.
Who the fuck are these people?
He's got 250 grand a week off YouTube.
Some kid on YouTube named Logan and Pumpkin Pie won up. They fought for $150 million.
Yes.
They generate it. That's why.
You can't pay Wilder $50 million.
Wilder gets $2 million to fight all teams.
Hey, you know what? Those guys got better name recognition.
You know what? In that fight, going to resemble. Their styles are going to resemble the Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, man.
You know what it is, though, don't you? They can generate the money. That's why. I mean, like, I don't know. I can't really hate on that.
No,
like,
I agree, Abstract. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is what I've always said though. With American boxing, I think this $70-80 is killing it. Killing the pay-per-view numbers. I think if you dropped it to a decent price, the numbers will go, and you'll actually you'll probably even up all. What? Yeah, of course it do.
Should do this.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, because people might buy it.
So Logan and Pumpkin Pie, right? Fought on YouTube. Okay?
No, Logan and KSI.
Whatever the fuck. Logan and KSI, right? These are YouTube guys. These are guys on YouTube. Yeah. They fought on pay-per-view on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the new format.
It was £10. It was 10 British pounds, I believe.
But remember, it was $100,000, so $8 million they made. That's what somebody's saying.
Think about what Stu just said. There's a kid who plays on a computer, right? He plays computer games, yells at his fucking TV. He makes $12 million a year plus endorsements to sit and play video. $12 million a year plus endorsements.
You know what? Yeah. My uncle who had schizophrenia, he would scream at the TV all day. He wasn't getting paid $800,000 a year. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Why wasn't your uncle who was screaming at the TV getting paid $12 million a year?
Why wasn't Uncle Paco getting paid $800,000? Man, that's what he should have fucking done.
That's it.
How dare you talk to me like that?
Yeah, new generation. It's all about social media.
No, but Huey Fury fought Joseph Parker on YouTube. It's not a new.
but that fight was even more shit than this fight.
Yeah, that fight was. It was.
Yeah.
It's all about the subs.
First of all, who won between Logan and Pumpkin? I mean, whatever.
KSI. It was a draw.
It was a draw.
Okay, it was a draw. So they got a rematch. They got a rematch, and they can make more money.
So why
you know what? That KSI guy, that KSI fought just like Deontay Wilder, and the Logan guy fought similar to AJ. So no bullshit aside, man. KSI fought like Wilder.
Okay, come on.
ElDude, who do you think
won? And helicopter punches and.
ElDude, who do you think won?
Oh, that was a draw. I gave it a draw. 3 apiece.
I thought Logan won, but
so did I.
Can we stop talking about this shit fight, guys? Come on.
Hey, can I say something about what Recognize the Matrix said? And it's because I think it does make sense. If they would price these things at a reasonable number, people would buy them, because I don't remember where I read this. I'll try to pull it up if I can find it, but they were saying how when people release music, for example, I think it was 9 Inch Nails or Radiohead, I forget, that they released an album for free, but they told their followers, listen, you can donate whatever you want for the album, and they made a shitload of money because they weren't telling them, listen, $30 for a fucking CD. And you gotta keep in mind though that the pay-per-views, let's say a pay-per-view $70, that doesn't go into the promoter's pocket. They gotta split it with the cable company. So these people get greedy. And that's why they try to put the price up as high as they can, because they just want to make the most profit. And people keep buying them. People keep buying pay-per-views. That's why they keep putting them out there.
Yeah, I agree.
It's been the same price since the 80s too. It's always been between $70 and $100. It's crazy.
Right.
I mean, you can use social, you can use Twitter, YouTube now to promote yourself, and obviously and make tons of money. I don't see why they could be like a internet platform where you can sell these fights, maybe, charge $10. Think about how many people use social media to watch everything, their news, to the fucking weather, this and that, right? So why not use boxing in that platform? You know what I'm saying? Why not just use it that way? If
you lose the risk, you're running the risk of losing your stream, and that's a bad thing, because when it happened with Golden Boy, I guess they said 48% or 50% of their audience didn't come back. So that's a big debt. So that was a bad hit.
So they still need, they still need.
To be fair though, it's not just the internet. I think ITV box office, when that first came out, it was a disaster.
I mean, it's gonna take over.
They charged me twice for it, and didn't show it. I couldn't get it. I had to go on some fucking stream to watch it because they just wouldn't show it. It wasn't coming through to my satellite, but they charged me twice for it. The thing was a whole mess. Everyone was complaining. So even the box office companies that are coming through, they're getting it wrong. But $80, man. I mean, that's a fucking lot of money to watch a fight. And how many fighters out there are really worth $80 of your money?
That's true. Very true.
I paid $100 for the fucking Mayweather fight. I mean, I didn't.
Oh.
I went to a friend's house. He paid $100, but we all had to chip in. Which it's not bad.
Is that how it works?
But it was like $100. $100 for that fight.
Oh no.
Hey, speaking of, because
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that talking about YouTube being a new platform and all that, and going back to the fight that we were talking about earlier. On the BDA show, Isaac Dogbo defeating the Otaka guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oscar de la Hoya, his nephew, Diego de la Hoya, he's fighting on Facebook tomorrow. Or next week, I believe. I'm sorry.
What's his name?
Diego de la Hoya. He's fighting on Facebook. And it's promoted by Golden Boy Promotions. Now, Diego de la Hoya is the mandatory now for Isaac Dogbo. Interesting, because now Isaac Dogbo versus Diego de la Hoya could end up in Facebook.
The Dogbo will beat the dog shit out of fucking De La Hoya.
That's true. But hold on, but so
isn't Dogbo a top rank fighter? No, or main events?
I think he's
Dogbo is top rank.
Top rank. So yeah, that'd be ESPN. It'd be on the ESPN app.
What's the deal? What's the deal with Rigondeaux? I know we were talking about earlier. Is he still fighting or is he retired?
He has to. He owes money. He owes hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I just put Rigo in Dogbo, whatever. Put them.
Man, I don't want any Rigo fights at all.
No, there's an article. An article that says Rigondeaux is looking to make a new deal with Luis de Cubas Jr. Who the hell is that?
That's
the promoter.
That's that guy. That's that El Carib.
Caribe Promotions.
Yo, dude, those guys. Anyway, I ain't gonna talk about that.
Yeah, what about that slime ball DeBella? He called Eddie Hearn everything, and now all of a sudden they're buddies, aren't they? Oh yeah, I don't mind working with Eddie in the zone because he's teamed for Tevin Farmer, isn't it? And he's all on Eddie Hearn's side now.
Farmer's a fucking hype job.
I know, but the thing is, the thing is, he called Eddie Hearn everything. Don't want to work with Eddie Hearn, And the next minute he's sitting there.
It's all about money, Stu. You know that, man.
Dude, he said Daniel Jacobs was like a son to him. Remember? Oh, he eats at my home. His kid's like my nephew. Fucking, he goes in with Hearn, and then he doesn't even wish him well. Dude, it's unbelievable with his earring. He's a sellout. He's a fucking sellout.
With his earring.
He knew exactly what he was doing when he took that hush. You know what I mean? Be a fucking yes man and just be a name on the promoter list and then actually Heyman do everything. You know how slimy that is?
Yeah. I bet the only thing that guy did was bring the coffees in the room. That's the only thing he did.
Park the car.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you guys need anything else? Relax,
man.
You guys need anything else? You want some coffee, some tea? I got some. I got some diet. I still got some Diet Cokes if you want some. What a freak! And Jimmy, I like how you threw in the fact that he had an earring as part of his flaws. That really hit home.
Listen, when you see him at Harvard, right? When you see him because they'll be in the local paper here, he attends Harvard events. Totally different. They have interviews with him, and he loses the New York accent. It's just I hate somebody phony. Oh, dude, it's crazy when he's talking at Harvard. And I've seen a few things when he's away from the boxing end, right? And his vocabulary changed, his vernacular, everything. He dummies down. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. He tries to act street, and it just when a Harvard lawyer tries to act street, it's embarrassing. You know what I'm saying?
When Hillary Clinton was during the campaign, she went to speak in the southern U.S. and she put on a fucking accent. How y'all doing today? And I was like, this is so fucking. When Obama was speaking at a black event, he put on an accent. It's like,
I can't believe America is losing its fucking marbles because this fucking cunt lost. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can say that on YouTube, but
yeah.
I mean, basically, what it comes down to is this fucking phony loses, and everybody's losing their mind. And she's just Like you said, she goes to the South, and how y'all doing?
Nino Gaggi in the chat says Harvard lawyer trying to act hood.
Yeah,
exactly. All you do is smack the shit out of him. You smack the shit out of him. Right? Hey, listen, I know the streets. Just right when he said, "Hey, I know the streets," smack him.
Oh,
watch him.
Now
watch
wait a
him
minute.
all,
That's
watch him all of a
assault.
sudden be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir."
Well, you know what? I actually have to confess something here. I do the same thing because when I'm in the old neighborhood, I go all Mexican. Orale, what's up, Holmes? Orale. But then when I'm conducting business, I go all like, well, I don't know. I think that my attorney would probably not advise against it. Like,
you become gay?
No, not me, bro. Like I'm sure I'm on scholarships, man. I'm from the barrio, man. I'm on scholarships. I'm on free tuition. I'm out there the doors and shit. I'm out there in the fucking student housing. I'm like, hey, Holmes, you know where I can find this? And they're looking at me like, what the fuck? Like Holmes. I'm like, yeah. Like I don't understand. Like to me, it's like normal, like Holmes, dude, and shit. Like, and they're like all fucking prepped up and shit.
That's right. Yeah, see, that's
100%, man. Seriously.
There you go. But yeah, it's
I don't give a fuck. You know?
Well, you know what? You want to talk about being slimy? This I was because we were talking about being fake and all that. I was reading this article and I tried to make a video about it, but I couldn't get it quite right. And it's about because guys, it's gonna be, or I think it's already passed the year anniversary of the big one, Mayweather-McGregor. But I just want to say one thing, because prior to the fight, everybody was talking about how it was gonna be disgusting, it was gonna be a circus. You would have thought that Mayweather and McGregor were gonna fuck inside a ring and they were gonna represent boxing that way. And at the end of the day, the fight happened and the world didn't end, the sky didn't fall, everything continued. But Thomas Hauser, who is normally a good journalist and a writer that I admire, he really does his homework. He wrote an article almost a month ago, and I'm going to put it up there on the screen a little bit. It says, 1 year later, Les Moonves, Showtime, and Mayweather-McGregor. The gist of it is that, I don't know if you guys know, but Les Moonves, the CEO of CBS, which is aligned with Showtime or owns Showtime, something like that, he is being accused now of sexual harassment. So Thomas Hauser is trying to link... Was that?
I'm not surprised.
What do you mean you're not? So anyway, we'll get to
Everybody's being accused of sexual harassment these days. I'm not surprised.
Have you been accused of sexual harassment by those old ladies in the buildings you work at?
Well, you know, I don't. In the past, I have, but it was all bullshit.
You're a sick bastard, man. All right.
Some chick I pinched her ass, and she's saying I harassed her. I don't know if that counts. No, but she's a.
Yeah, it counts.
I'm sorry, BDA. Let finish. I'm sorry.
Well, just real quick, because it's a long article.
I got all these chicks always fucking sexually harassing me every fucking day at the university. Just because.
Okay, you probably shouldn't admit that. You probably shouldn't admit that on the air. But all right. So Thomas Hauser is trying to link that. He's trying to link Les Moonves' behavior, which is alleged, by the way. He hasn't been convicted or anything. But he's trying to link that to Mayweather-McGregor because in his mind, he said that the build-up to Mayweather-McGregor was filled with, and I'm quoting him here, he said it was filled with misogyny, racism, and homophobia because they kept using the words cunt, bitch, pussy, and hoe. Now, my counterpoint to Thomas Hauser is, what the fuck did he expect? These people, it was a fight between a 40-year-old fighter who hadn't fought in about a year and a half against a guy who'd never had professional boxing fights. Did he really think they weren't going to go there in order to promote it? Second of all, words are just words. They can't hurt anybody, all right? I don't understand how using the word bitch, cunt, pussy, faggot, how does that constitute any type of behavior? Words do not count. I'm wrong. But hold on, let me finish first. Because I don't think you're being serious here. But, and then he says, and I'm going to put the article, so just so you can see I'm not making this shit up. He says...
So how's a vagina?
Hold on.
Seriously, oh fuck, man.
Well, hold on. But then he says, how would the women at the Showtime offices feel that they weren't being heard? In other words, he's saying that the fact that the Showtime show and CBS shows chose to promote this.
From behind, they're usually not heard. Okay.
Oh,
you mean
you guys? You know what? I'm just gonna stop.
Well, yeah, that's what I pay attention.
I'm just gonna stop reading the article because you guys get the gist of it. But he's trying to say that
the office ears were ringing for Mayweather punch him in the head.
Exactly.
What the fuck is he talking about? He's too fucking leftist twat.
Listen. You know what?
Did you really write that?
You know what was my response to Thomas Hauser?
Go ahead.
Fuck off. But I definitely liked his article exposing Floyd Mayweather. But other than that, go fuck yourself. I don't care about it.
So you're not joking? I thought that was a joke. He really wrote that? He blamed it because they were using that language?
Let me read you a last quote. That's and I'm not making. I'm putting it up on the screen. I'm putting it up on the screen so you guys can read it. And this is the one that really, I wouldn't say pissed me off, but I said this guy's all over the place. He says, shit, hold on a second. Oh yeah, he says, as I wrote at the time, says Thomas Hauser, somewhere as you read this, men who think that Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor are really cool role models are abusing women. The abuse will psychologically scar some of the women for life. Maybe one of the abusers will kill his victim. I mean, come on. Is this guy exaggerating or is this guy exaggerating?
Let me explain something to you. Let me explain something about Thomas Hauser, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does Thomas Hauser write anything about the porn industry?
Good point. Very good point.
That's full of degrading women.
Mm-hmm.
And where women are not, there's actual videos where women, play the victim of getting raped.
Yeah. You know what that tells me?
Hauser sounds like a feminazi, doesn't he? He's got the perfect name for it. I mean, Hauser can't get more Nazi than that.
Thank you, dude. This is all this is. Thomas Hauser had that. He did that Heyman hit piece 4 years ago or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He hasn't done really anything. Okay, he sits back like everybody. He sees the political temperature, you know what I mean, or the climate right now in the nation. He sees the media right now is heavily left. He has to jump in. That's all that was. That was his.
Yeah,
that's all that was.
By the looks of him, he's a schnauzer, and I don't expect anything.
Let's be real. These days,
from this guy.
You know the little snakes, the ones that do anything to keep their job. I mean, they'd suck a dick to keep their job, most of these guys.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, let's be real snakes. And they're realising that if anyone with a conservative sort of view or politics is getting frozen out of media, films, the music industry, so that they're towing the line and they're becoming lefty snowflakes. Basically, they're selling their soul. So I've got no time for people like Hauser.
Dude, let me tell you something, right? Real quick, dude. When I was a guy at the fucking up in Shirley and shit, I could always tell a diddler or a sexual deviant or a creep from their eyes. They just, dude, I have a radar. Seriously, I didn't have to see the paperwork. I'm not even joking, dude. Like I could look at somebody and like, dude, they have, you know what I'm saying? Pedophiles, dude. The diddlers have that fucking almost like a few chromosomes missing, right?
Too.
Dude, right? You know what I'm saying? And fucking
yeah.
Dude, those feminists,
how they look at people, you know.
But those pink shirt, hands up in the air, fist dudes, I started noticing this recently. I'm looking in their eyes. I'm like, those dudes are predators. They're all fucking in their own creepy way, dude. They are. Because listen, they're so fucking. They're so last kid pick for fucking kickball, fucking type people that they need some in, dude. How are they gonna win a woman? You think they're gonna win them flexing their arm, fucking trying to catch a foul ball, letting it hit him in the face?
I think that's when they banned AJ.
You know what I mean?
He was like always exposing that.
They do that submissive.
No, he's not talking about. He's not talking about Joshua. He's talking about the other AJ.
The other AJ. Yeah, the one you brought up, AJ. Your acronym Matrix.
No, because if ElDude, if we bring up his name, we're probably gonna get shut down. That's why.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but he
just call him. Just call him Bill Hicks. Call him Bill Hicks.
He's not Bill Hicks. Will you stop?
He's Bill Hicks, though.
But hold on, I just want to. I want to get back to.
He was always exposing that. He was always on there, and that's what. And fans and people were like, they're pushing for it. And guess what happened, man?
I love how AJ blamed the communist Chinese for kicking him off YouTube.
Yeah, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah.
You think it's the Chinese going around? And by the way, just to wrap up,
anybody believes that, you're living in another world, man.
Hey, but what are you guys talking about? Politics and boxing, man. Boxing, you got Donald Trump and Deontay Wilder. Donald Trump and Deontay Wilder, you know, they know each
called
other.
Them out on it. They didn't call out Wilder on him being like all friendly with Trump.
And he really, you could tell he was impressed meeting Donald Trump. He was like, look, I don't don't see Donald Trump as a racist. That's just to get that out there. But it goes against his main fans' ideology. You know,
his main fans, but right now there is a culture change. Right now, I've noticed it. There's more and more. You go to conservative pages, Twitter pages. Half of them are black. I'm telling you right now. I see it. It's a large Kansas
to the media. This is to me. The truth is, are conservative, or I'm not saying conservative like you got to pick a side. They're independent thinkers. It's just that some can't speak out publicly about it because there's ramifications behind that. Okay, but I'm gonna say this: Wilder's fan base is definitely not that. The core of Wilder's fan base is not that. They're the leftist crybaby. Right, the leftist
professional victim.
Why me? Why me? Why this happened?
Hands up, don't shoot.
While they're wearing $300 sneakers and $200 polo shirts, talking about they oppressed. That's his fan base. That's the core of his fan base. So it was kind of weird seeing them, you know, give Wilder kind of a pass. Who, to me, I don't have a problem with that because I probably would have been the same way too.
Did Trump
any president? Topic with Donald Trump. What do you think Donald Trump is going to play a big part in the Deontay Wilder-Tyson Fury fight?
What do you mean by play a big part?
Special favor. Special favor.
Nah, he's not going to get
a presidential favor.
Because Donald Trump is a big fan of boxing, man. Donald Trump
let's be real. When Trump when he starts to get blamed for robbing a fighter, then we have gone insane.
Listen. ElDude, I get where you're coming from. ElDude, I get where you're coming from, but you have to understand, if Donald Trump farts the wrong way, he might get impeached. So,
Stu, can I tell you?
Careful.
Oh,
he has to be extremely careful.
Hey, can I say something a second? Like you're talking about this Wilder Fury fight now, yeah. I don't know if you guys heard this. Dan Rafael comments the last day, saying that one of Fury's management team has actually told him that fucking Fury is sort of like having cold feet. He might not be ready. You mark my words, he's going to be calling me the fucking Oracle in a few months' time. I said it. It's not.
Yeah, you might be right, man.
No, but Fury's sending out articles saying it's not on.
Fury's come out today and said it's a load of rubbish. You know, so I don't know.
Where's the announcement though? Frank Warren said we were going to have it on Tuesday. Where are we now? Sunday?
Hey, mate,
Monday?
I've known Warren cards. I know it should be the case with these two, but I've known Warren cards that a week before they haven't got the opponents. Do you know what I mean? Or the venue. The guy just leaves everything to the last fucking minute, and that's why I don't dislike Frank Warren. I just think he's a dinosaur, man. And, you know, this fight should be signed already. Eddie Hearn would have had. I mean, if Eddie Hearn was with Tyson Fury, this fight would be signed. I know he hasn't signed the Joshua fight, but there's other reasons to that. But I think this fight would be signed already.
Yeah, I mean the fights that are not signed a week before the fight, they're usually the TBAs, isn't they? They're normally the up and coming hyped guy is going to fight some fucking dustbin man, but they just don't know which dustbin man isn't working that day collecting the bins. That's all it is. A fight like this, you would imagine. I mean, a fight like this, you would imagine it'd be if it was all done and it'd been so easy and they were so easy to deal with and blah blah blah. You know, come on, where's
this? Is it? Yeah, I mean, well, Frank Warren has to wait for the Bulgarian lorry drivers to get a shift.
Hey, by the way,
remember about a month ago? This is kind of changed the subject quick, but you asked a question. You said about 2011, 2012. Everything started changing to talk about the type of Wilder fan. And we were saying, where did the whole culture and everything start changing? I was talking to a guy, right? He's a doctor in psychology and a doctor in sociology, modern sociology. So he studies patterns and he studies how the media and what they use. There's a conglomerate of media people get together and they decide in 2011 that they would go to events and see how people are treated, right? They started using Twitter. They started using Twitter and YouTube. And he said when Twitter first took off, 50% of the users were inner city kids. So basically, in 2011, when the media...
shit, everybody dropped. It's like that CNN guy. Remember that CNN guy where I forget, I think it was Cuomo, one of those guys. somebody was about to say something they didn't like, and all of a sudden the satellite signal goes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, "Oh no!" Like, yeah, that's how convenient. All right, hold on. Let's wait for.
When it got interesting, man.
All right,
Sorry,
all right.
Dude, did you hang up on me, man? Did I piss somebody off?
No, we all dropped.
Everybody dropped.
You fumbled.
Oh, yeah, I dropped that one.
YouTube censoring you, man.
And that's what it is. They just in 2011, the media went to using social media as their guideline, including news, including ESPN. Everybody did. So because the inner city kids, remember, and when this kid told me this, you popped in my head, Stewie. Like, we were just asking that same timetable about a month ago. We were talking about that, but that's interesting, right? If you think about it, that's the same time they turned to social media, and that was heaviest influence in that community.
Social media is like a little project, man. It's like a little.
Did you hear the NFL? I mean, CBS, NBC, ESPN, and Fox in this last year lost $600 million off the projected budget, and their viewership was down 20%. So that fucking white militant knee fucking cost them $600 million.
I think the media and the elite they realise they're losing their grip of this fluffy little world they all want us to live in, and people's politics are changing. The left are losing people left, right, and centre. They've gone so far left that no one with any sort of brain in their head can relate to these people. I mean, they're fucking insane, and I think they're losing their grip. And they're trying to bully us through the social medias. That's for sure.
Hey, speaking of,
I used to be a Democrat. I was a Democrat my whole life, dude.
And I think it's gonna be
not anymore.
It's gonna get worse. But I believe that a lot of the youngsters coming through are very more conservative thinking than the millennials. The millennials are just a lost generation, bunch of retards.
Well, I wouldn't exactly go there, Stu, because a lot of people seem to think that millennials, but actually millennials have been very active in alternative news as well, and it's one of the reasons why Trump was elected as well. So I mean, it's not all millennials.
Well,
but
maybe I'm wrong then, but I see a lot of the real lefty hardcore feminists and the communists. They're a lot of millennials. I don't see many 50-year-old communists walking around. I know they're about, but most of these people at these Berkeley fucking marches and all that, they're young millennials that are
it's the guys my age. It's the guys my age teaching the young kids.
Yeah, the weirdo
professors in the 90s.
It's the weirdo professors from that era. I mean, let's be real. When you look at the professors that we were taught by, a lot of them, they had paedophile written all over their faces. They were just weirdos.
Yeah, they do.
Well, you know what? It's because
it's not my homies anyway.
When I hear guys like Apology speak, and I think Apology said that he's in his 20s, right? Apology, are you in your 20s?
Don't answer that question.
I'm 20.
You're 20 on the dot. Okay, so like when I hear guys like that speak, I know that
there's hope.
It may not be the majority. It may not be the majority, but a lot of young people are starting to realize that the left, right, right, left, it doesn't matter because you could go too far right. You know what I'm saying? You could. But the left is going really far. They're like taking their politics, the extreme. It's not even it's ideology. They turn it into politics.
Point to one thing in anything. I don't care if it's politics, if it's food, if it's sex, where an extreme view is healthy.
Oh yeah,
in anything,
you're right about
religion,
that.
right? In anything, you go extreme in anything, it's dangerous.
Even in
exercising.
Yeah, but these people are drive. What they're doing. These lefties, they're driving people away from the Democrat Party. So they're putting people like Trump in power for another 6 years because they've isolated their own people. I mean, you got libertarians and people that are liberals, that liberal-minded, that are classed as far-right Nazis now.
Dude, you can't tell people in New York. I tell people this. Try to walk in New York City and say that you voted for Trump.
They'll probably beat you up.
They might beat you up, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see what happened after Trump got elected?
But you know what, man? Also, if you generalize it, then we're stereotyping. But I'm talking about the bad apple. there's been a bad apples, man. Where they've been I'm not sure what Stu said, very like Nazi-ish, man. They'll come out very racist, Nazi-ish, and on the other side they come out very accusing the general consensus, like all whites are racist.
But I never seen this before. Listen, I've been here in this country for a long time.
You have Matrix. You had O.J. Simpson being declared innocent. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. Like okay, remember how whatever side of the fence you was on, if you were white, it seemed that way. I'm not gonna say all whites. There was blacks that thought he was guilty too. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yo, he's guilty.
General consensus,
right? But the general consensus, right? But at least people can have a conversation. Today, the atmosphere feels like you can't have a conversation. You cannot have this conversation.
Every black person knew he was guilty. You know what I mean? They all knew. They didn't care. That's what. That was the thing. You know what I mean? That's just being honest. Every black person I knew he was guilty. Some I knew were happy to get off because in their mind, their point of view was then, that was the excuse everybody used, was we've been getting shafted in court for so long, railroaded for so long, that it was like they won one. But unfortunately, the joke was on them because OJ wasn't one of them. They had to black up his house for the court case. They had to go put in African art because the minute he made his money, he wanted nothing to do with his community. And that's just fact. And if I want to be called a racist because I'm stating historical fact, then give me my hood.
But they got
You're
him.
a racist.
Watch out,
You're
bro.
a racist.
Crazy. But no, but even it got worse because they got him on the civil.
No, you're right. But you're 100% right. But that's when it changed. I saw it right there when it was like, wow. So it's gone to that extreme now. It's like, fuck you, we're not even gonna hide it. All right, whatever.
You see, whenever you have extreme, here's the thing, right? Like whenever you have an extreme point of view, it seems like the media promotes that as the norm, right? And I say this growing up. Listen, I grew up in the ghetto, and yeah,
you gotta come to California, man. Everybody's got chill over here and shit.
I'm sure I love California. I told you,
totally different mind of view out there. They shoot you. That's it. They don't fist fight; they shoot you.
Yeah, they shoot you over there. They either real chill, or they just kill you. That's
they shoot you.
It's not.
That's true. Yeah.
But what I was I almost lost my extreme point of views. Extreme point of views are like promoted by the media. Okay, they always promote this extreme point of view. They never show you like, look, I'm not making excuses for any group of people, but they'll show you like, these extreme black people that are like, yeah, kill these whiteys, kill these honkies. But they're not showing you. They're not showing you the other side is like, nah, I don't believe in that shit. Like that's not
bad apples.
Yeah,
doesn't that coincide with what? I'm sorry. I was gonna say, doesn't that coincide? That coincides with what I said. Think about what you just said. The media is going with that side, right? That point of view.
Exactly.
And just what that guy said in 2011, he said, this is serious. Like this is what he does for a living. And he said, without a doubt, they changed their whole view. So back then, Twitter had 13% of the population was using it. So if you figure only 13%, then they even narrow it down. So they were taking that view and starting to change their whole culture and their advertisement under that. And it's like, oh my God, you're 100% right. You could see it at that time.
I think what's happening in boxing, brother. What's happening in boxing because
I was gonna say that. Let's bring it to boxing. Okay, let's say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think the whole media culture has changed. Like we've got the internet now, we can find the alternatives to the same old media drilling the same old bullshit in our heads. Even in the boxing, let's be real. Look how many times the media told us how great a fighter was, and we believed it. We had him on our pound for pound all-time list, and as soon as we got the internet, we started studying these guys and their opponents. Yeah. And we realised that these guys probably weren't as good as Showtime and HBO told us so. And that's the good thing about it. Same with politics. You can take two different versions and use your brain and take it from there. But we've had for so many decades, we've had the BBC and CNN telling us what to think and making up these stories and making us believe everything. And now we've got alternatives, and it's in sports as well. So.
All right, now can I? Butcher said move this over to.
No jokes or nothing, but the LDBC is making it that racial tension where it's fucking it up.
All right, now Butcher said
it's not the LDBC itself, although the LDBC is right. They're partaking in all that, and what they're doing is they're giving them a platform to spew this divide. Right now, look, I don't. don't pretend to know every LDBC channel and know who's saying what. So I can't say all of them, but from what I've seen, no,
it's good by association.
I agree. I agree with you. I totally agree that from what I've seen, what I've seen, it's about dividing. It's like if you're not down with the fighters I like, then
you're
therefore,
cool.
Right,
it's segregated.
But there was actually one guy that I was speaking to on a podcast. I happened to do a podcast. He was kind of, I just forgot his fucking name, but he treated me with respect, and me and him disagreed with about everything. You know, he was like, okay, that's a good point. And so I don't want to just generalize, but it does seem like these groups, they have what they like these groups. It's not that they form them in secret and give them, you know, they came up with their own name, LDBC.
What's it stand for? What does it stand for, though?
They've segregated themselves.
It's called Lions Den Boxing Community.
Yeah, but what does it stand for? Like their beliefs, or the reason they gathered together. Like what?
Right. Their belief is from the way I understand it. And I'm not going to say I know 100%, but it seems like the central organizing feature is about supporting black fighters because the media doesn't support black fighters, and I disagree with that. I think the media goes out of their way.
It's a crock of shit.
This is what I
Hold on. Stu, go ahead.
Go ahead, Stu.
You're only hurting yourself when you start limiting what you talk about and who you talk about, and it makes your channel suffer. Nez, I kept telling Nez for years, start, because he used to call UK fighters, Euro bums. I remember about all them UK bums, and I'd say to him, them fighters will make you money, mate. They'll get you views, and he wouldn't listen. He would rather go and interview Devon Alexander and people like that. You know what I mean?
His channel's taking a tank because of that. He didn't listen to you, and he's paying for it now.
Since he's been going to the UK and getting Eddie Hearn interviews, his numbers are tanking big time. And this is because he's not limiting himself. He's willing to talk to Eddie normally now. He's realised he can't be a Wilder fanboy, because when Wilder's career is over, who's Nez going to be sucking up to then? Do you know what I mean? So
he'll find somebody.
And you can't limit.
He'll find some American fighter to suck up to.
Good.
You can't limit who you fucking talk about and that. Like,
well,
and
look. Can I say something about the LDBC here? Because they're making it. They're making
one of the things that I wanted to mention why I brought up the LDBC is because they promote streaming fights illegally, and they also they don't contribute economically to the sport of boxing. But they bring in this racial tension, segregated, so in the long run it hurts it, and they do it just for views for their particular view. But this
is agree with you more, brother.
For the boxing.
They don't show the fights. They don't do shit. And guys, there's this channel, man, Black Fighter TV or something like that.
You sent me that link.
Black
Oh, you saw it, Jimmy? Yeah, this
dude. Yes, you sent it to that EJ. You sent it to EJ, and he sent it to me. It was insane. Haymanites, yes. Dude, it's insane. It was crazy. It was crazy. It's exactly what you're saying.
Guys, this guy was saying, oh, before the LDBC, we didn't have a platform, and like they were dissing black fighters, not giving any credit to black fighters. Like,
you want to know exactly what he said, dude? This is the scary part. I didn't mean to cut you off, dude, but this is what he actually said is so much worse. He starts off, he goes, well, listen, a lot of y'all young folk are new to the game, and you're calling me and say, why are you starting this shit, and why are you making this, you come in, you're thinking it's a racial thing. But what it is you got to understand, and that's what he do. He kind of keep bouncing. He goes, we needed a place, black fans needed a place they could feel safe. Bang, stop right there. That's fucking, that's safe. That word, right? So 1 minute into it, fans needed a place to feel safe. So that caught my attention. I'm like, okay, continue. I want to hear why. And he said, the reason why, see, what happened was when Floyd Mayweather was fighting, they were calling him cool, and they were calling him nigga, and he started fucking getting all angry. And that was it. He never, and then he said, and then we needed a place where black motherfuckers, they went all militant. And I said, there we go. There we go.
He started
exactly like that, dude. It was crazy.
All right, but you know what it is, though? I got to interject here. Listen. The LDBC is gonna do their own thing, and they're making big things. Like we saw the last before the last episode, they're making a movie about the LDBC life. So let them do their own thing. You know what I mean? They're gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna roll.
It's just kind of sad that we're a bunch of multicultural guys here, right? All of us, man. We have Mexicans, we have Mexican Americans, we have fucking off the boat Guineas. Like, we have everybody going on.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, right? But listen, but we're tiptoeing around it, right? Aren't we? We're all like, well, we're trying to, subtly, we're saying because we don't. And this straight up fucking black fight fans are the best fight fans. And Jimmy, it's like this shoving it down our throat, and we're tiptoeing around it. It's sad.
I saw a comment that said in one of these LDBC channels, a comment said, "Oh, the LDBC, the most diverse community in boxing." I was like, "Are you fucking joke?" I mean, these people are delusional.
They don't even realize that by them saying the fucking dichotomy, just the total
denial,
just the total lack of what they're saying, right? You just said this is a place for black fight fans to feel safe.
Yeah.
First of all, I'll say then diversity. I would say if you want blacks to feel safe, tell them to get out of the ghetto. Okay, that's
you know what, brother?
Saying. Get them out of the ghetto.
And you know what? It goes back to what everybody was talking about. These youngsters, they don't know how to bar talk.
Yeah, but how can you call yourself a Lions Den boxing community and then claim a safe space?
Yeah, it's like that's
they don't know what they're saying. They don't know what they're saying.
And you know what trips me out? Like Lion is like more like redhead, kind of Canelo looking type.
That's a good point.
Like Canelo or some shit.
That's a
I
very
think they
good point.
adopted the whole Charlo thing. It all started out of the.
It's like when Antifa. It's like when Antifa gets beat up, right? They start fights, but they get beat up, and then they're like, "Where was our security?"
That's true, man.
Well, there's nothing more enjoyable than watching Antifa getting knocked spark out.
It's like porn.
Do you guys think that some of these? I have this feeling that some of these boxers, African American boxers, are being influenced now by the LDBC. You know? I'm not joking. Like you see, Jimmy mentioned, Charlo coming out dressed like a fucking Halloween costume with a lion there, and then you have Jacobs dressed like Elijah Muhammad there. Like remember, like coming to America or something. Like come on,
you got Spence tweeting things out that are 100%. He knows in his heart it's factually wrong, but he's tweeting it out because. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go on, Jimmy.
No, I'm sorry, dude. I apologize. I was talking over you. I'm sorry. I was ignorant. I didn't realize because of the echo. But
don't worry about it, bro. Honestly.
I'll fucking interrupt then. Would it surprise any of you if the next time Daniel Jacobs or one of the Charlos comes into the ring wearing leather gloves, a knife, and it's covered in blood, and he's got a severed head of a waiter and his wife? Come on, I mean, you never know, man.
Did anyone see? Did anyone see Demetrius Andrade? He looked like fucking Henry VIII the other day in the Billy Joe.
Do you see why? Do you see why? I'm not gonna go and cheer for someone. He looked like a fucking Paulie Malignaggi with a good tan. He looked like a fool.
He looked like Walter Mercado, my baby.
He would come through with that elephant over his dick. He wore makeup. Remember that?
Buenos dias, señores y señoras.
They don't know who it is. They don't know who it is, but we know who it is.
You guys have to Google, Jimmy, Steve, you guys got to Google Walter Mercado.
BDA, Google it, man.
Google Walter Mercado. They're going to die laughing, man.
He was the worldwide known psychic.
Psychic, yeah.
By the way,
right? Like, was he
it's a guy, by the way. It's a guy. Yeah, just to let the viewers know, it's a guy. It's not a girl. So,
dude, I remember watching this guy. I remember watching this guy in Puerto Rico, and like Walter Mercado. Buenos dias, señoras y señores. Soy Walter Mercado. Hoy.
What was it, Walter?
Oh my God! What the fuck is that?
It's the psychic. It's a guy, by the way. That's like his wife. Hey, guys, his wife was fucking hot. His wife, apparently. I don't know if that's true though. Everybody was saying he had a hot wife and shit.
He looks like Liberace, man.
Yeah, you know what? She looks like never mind. I was gonna say.
All right, so. But hold on.
Yo, do you guys remember Edie? You guys remember Edie Chacon?
Oh yeah, Chacon. Yeah.
Oh, she was bad.
Oh yeah.
I liked her back in the days.
Sorry. But you guys, I wanted to say something earlier about you, because Bucho had said, let's bring it back to boxing. What's his name? John McCain, who was always talking about boxing reform. Well, he passed away a day ago or 2 days ago? And it's interesting.
John McCain died?
Yeah. You know, the guy, it's interesting.
I heard ISIS is really sad right now, but that's a rumor.
Exactly.
Well, it's interesting because
how can you call yourself a war hero when you hang yourself?
Oh my God, that was brutal.
It's interesting.
Complex puppet, man.
Well, can I just say something real
someone
quick?
Mentioned,
I just want to say
Jacobs.
something real
He's
quick,
fighting
please.
Demchenko, and he reminds me of Dmitry Piglov. I can't pronounce his name right. The similar style.
Pirog.
Pirog. Pirog. I don't know if Demchenko could pull a Pirog. I think it's gonna be tough for Danny Jacobs, man. Because
it's two different styles, though. Well, hold on, it's two different. I gotta say this. It's two. It might be.
It might be. Wants to say something.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, but you gotta also realize that Derevchenko and Pirog are two completely different styles. If he does pull off the win, he's not gonna pull off the win the same way Pirog did. But you never know, man. I mean, Derevchenko is a strong dude, but I don't know if he just seems like he's too what's the word I'm looking for here?
Yeah.
Slow.
Simple.
Too slow. Too
methodical.
You know what reminds me? Of Pirog? This particular style. I'm not talking about the style. I'm talking about being in his face, taking a punch and giving a punch to give 2 back and shit, 2 for 2. This guy is willing to stay in the pocket and swing it, and that's where Danny Jacobs is in trouble, man. When you stick to him in his face.
I don't know. When you start swinging it out with Jacobs, the likelihood is you're going to come second best, unless you're Golovkin or someone like that. Jacobs, Pirog fucking sparked him out cold. I mean, what's happened to Dmitry Pirog? I mean, the guy, I think he got an injury.
Broke his back.
Did he break his back?
Well, he had an injury to his back, something like that, and
because a lot of people are saying he's the guy that could have troubled Golovkin. I'm not sure about that, but
I think that he would have had the style to make it a good fight.
They were supposed to fight.
He had the athletic ability to make it a very interesting fight.
They were supposed to fight. I think, in 2013. But that's when, like Recognized said, Pirog had a back injury, and apparently Mike Tyson he examined Pirog's back, and he said it was spinal, the injury. So
remember that? Broke my back. And remember Jim Gray's face? Like, what? What do you mean you broke?
No, hold on.
Spinal.
The best.
The question he looked to was fucking awesome. It was like he was expecting like a sprained ankle or some shit.
The funny thing was that if you look at Mike Tyson and you see Jim Gray's face, Jim Gray was like, "Oh shit, he's saying that to me like I better accept it." You know what I'm saying? So let me chill with the questioning.
Yeah, I better let this one go.
It's like a psychotic break moment, wasn't it? Like, fucking hell. It's going to go off here if I say anything.
Go look at it real good. Watch the reaction.
I mean, Paul Williams had a bad back injury. I mean,
imagine if Angel Garcia was training Mike Tyson.
Oh my God.
No, that wouldn't work. You know, Angel Garcia.
We should do like a fantasy matchup corner training, like who would be like the crazy, like Angel Garcia Tyson, man. That would be crazy.
Like the fucking Chinese, when the Chinese they put their pee on my food, the fucking Chinese.
Hey, I've got one for fucking.
He's high on heroin. I'm sorry.
Virgil Hunter training James Butler.
Oh. And imagine Max Kellerman calling one of the fights. Imagine Max Kellerman calling the fight there. You went there, and then all of a sudden I continue going, and then you call me out. And you know what?
Shut up, punk.
Yeah, you know what? This fucking thing calls for a revaluation, because it's true. I mean, look, listen. Getting back to the whole Triple G. By the way, we're Triple G versus Canelo. When is the 24/7 for that one? Is it coming anytime soon or?
I thought they scrapped it. Didn't they scrap it?
No, they're doing one.
They're doing one. They're not having a face-off. They're not going to have a face-off. That's what I heard.
Who cares about that?
Yeah, I don't care about it either, personally.
All right.
Who cares?
I'm just throwing it in there.
this fight is as one of the best fights in boxing. It's getting sort of no sort of love, is it? I think people are sick to the bone of all the controversy, and I mean, people don't even want to watch the 24/7. I mean, has this fight lost its spark? Do you think?
Yeah.
No, it's summertime. Nobody's like summertime.
No, I think it lost its spark just a little bit, but you know, it's still the biggest fight of this year.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it always picks up every fight.
At the week of the fight, we'll gain it because everyone will watch it anyway.
That's when it's gonna start heating up. The talks of the fight. It's like a week into it.
Yeah, I've noticed that about boxing now. It's not spoken about until the week before the fight. A lot of these fights come up, you don't even know they're on until like you see it on the telly like in a couple of days' time that it's on. It's just that they don't really. There's not a lot of advertising going on for these fighters. You can see why a lot of them are not big names. They're not anywhere on the TV. They're not advertising these fights, really, are they?
And they're still getting a big payday. I mean, think about it, man. They're gonna get. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I could have swore I saw an article that Triple G is going to get somewhere like $25 million for this fight.
Oh, fucking hell! That's
what?
I mean,
yeah, $25 million.
Well, that's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
Canelo's
getting more. Canelo's getting more than that.
I think that's gonna. What do you think that's gonna do? I think it'll do 600,000. What do you think?
Well, it did 1.3, right? The first one.
The first one did 1.3 million?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, I heard it was 800,000. So,
well, I don't know. That could be the real number, but they reported 1.3.
Oh, well, if that's the case, it'll do $1 million then.
By the way, it's gonna break $1 million. And you know why? Because the casual fans have no idea about the whole Clubero shit going on. That's just diehard talk.
That's true.
I don't know if this fight is going to do the numbers the first one will. I'm quite sure it won't.
By the way, let me read some comments in the chat. Canelo says 24/7 is this Tuesday. What?
All right.
Nino Gagi says 24/7, I believe, is next week. And then he also said that. Damn. Oh yeah, this is the biggest middleweight fight since Tito against Bernard Hopkins. Oh, I don't know.
Well, bigger. I guarantee you, Recognize the Matrix is not going to be crying after the way he did for Hopkins to Trinidad, right?
Yeah.
And you know what?
I actually told. Listen, I know. You guys didn't know me back then, right? I know you guys.
Well, don't be so sure.
I actually told people.
We've been watching you, man.
I told people that there's a good chance he's losing this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite surprised how many Golovkin fans are actually tipping Canelo to win this fight. I mean, I've seen it from quite a few Golovkin fans. I think a lot of people are starting to see a Canelo win.
But here's the thing. Man. This fight, the first one, I realize that it deserves to be a draw because I myself had it for Canelo, and it depends on who you're talking to, who you're surrounded with. So it deserves to be a rematch, and I believe this part 2 is going to be greater than the first one because apart from what happened, the controversy, to see if Canelo is really legitimately going to knock this guy out or vice versa, I think this fight is going to blow up, man. I think so.
Don't you guys think that the fact that Canelo's smaller is going to have an impact on this now?
But is that real though?
Is that real? How well he can take Triple G shots?
Well, I want to see how he looks when he comes in the ring. Abstract. I want to see what he looks like when he's in the ring.
Right.
If he puts on, if he rehydrates and it looks, muscular, and he can probably, have the same result in terms of taking Golovkin's punches. I'm still going, even though I do feel. I don't want to get to the hardcore boxing politics. I do feel that this fight, Golovkin has to win. Like, in my opinion, he really has to win this fight in order to get a W. I still say that I think Golovkin's going to win this fight.
In the chat, Real News says age is the main reason. I guess he's talking about Golovkin. Age is the reason. Nopal Castellano says Triple G never tested Canelo's chin.
Well, he also said, can I just say something else? He says, Nopal is saying that Triple G is looking nervous.
Yeah.
Looking nervous? I mean, I don't. But listen, I disagree with that comment. I disagree with that comment. Triple G did test Canelo's chin. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He caught him quite a few times, and Canelo took it surprisingly well.
And if he's clean this time,
but I don't see why people are surprised by that.
No, it's Triple G.
Canelo's been hurt once in his career as a young boy.
Because it's Triple G. That's the only reason why.
But he's got a gallon neck.
I was just going to say that the fucking neck and the jawline on him. He's got a Marius Watt jawline.
He has that jaw because if you guys remember,
he's got a prime Mike Tyson neck.
But Canelo was born I think Canelo was gifted with that jaw, man. Because if you guys remember the fight with Miguel Cotto's brother, Jose Cotto, he clocked him, man, and he took it like a champ. He was a kid.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think he has a great chin. That's just my opinion.
Well, he has great defense too. He's got great defense too. I mean, he never really, even when Triple G landed that overhand right, I think it was in the 5th or 6th round, Canelo was sort of like riding away from it, riding with the punch. So he has, even if he does get hit, like that's the thing. He's got great defense, and then if the defense doesn't work, he's got a pretty good fucking chin. So both guys, that's what I'm saying. Both guys.
I think Golovkin lost a lot of his. I think Golovkin lost a lot of his spark. I think he got so used to being in 2nd and 3rd gear. I think when he had to pump it into 5th gear, it just put nothing in the engine was happening. I just think it was all predictable. I think Golovkin won the fight. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it was a very good performance from Golovkin. I think if you look at the boxing skills wise, I thought Canelo was doing the better boxing skill. I thought he was doing the better work, but he just didn't do enough of it. So I think Golovkin, I think when he came out against Varnish Martirosyan, I know it's only Martirosyan, but he came out with mean intentions in that fight, and I think we see that old Golovkin back, where that killer. I think we've seen it with so many fighters. Manny Pacquiao's another one where he just lost that killer instinct and he became human again. And I think
didn't we say the same thing about Golovkin and Jacobs? Like, oh, he's losing his killer instinct, or he wasn't. I don't know. There were some things people were saying, and then like he's gonna be back. Then fights Canelo and looks kind of like the same. Like he's getting older.
Could it be that GGG has trouble with elusive fighters?
Well, yeah. That's a thing. That's a thing. People aren't giving. Listen, the thing about boxing is this: if you look
two of the best, because he is fighting two of the elusive good fighters. I'm curious to see. I just want to see Canelo Friday night. I'm going to hold back my judgment. That's the most important. I want to see him dry. I want to see him dry on the scale. I want to see the color of his eyes. You know what I mean? Is he sunken in? Is he ashy? You know what I mean? Because your color changes. If you come off clean, you shouldn't
there's a color change, man.
I think he could suit him. I think really could suit him. Because
Canelo's going. He's going to go in there in great shape. Yeah,
I do.
I expect Canelo, win or lose, he's going to have his moments in that fight.
Yeah,
you got to
remember.
He has been using
muscle burns oxygen. Right, the less muscle he's got, he's going to be a bit leaner. He's going to be a bit quicker. Golovkin was struggling to land clean on Canelo when he was pumped up on peds and looked really muscly and robotic at times. But I think this little bit of weight, little bit of muscle off is going to suit him for speed.
You know something, Stu? I think that there's a problem. There could be a problem on both sides for Canelo in this fight. Number one, I agree. That's the point. You see, the way he came into that fight, right? The way he came in muscled up. I don't care how he got there, whether it was natural or unnatural. I don't care. The way he came in is what kept him from holding. Dude, he took 3-punch combinations. And I thought to myself, when he caught him with that, I said, oh, he's hurt. No, he wasn't. He was stunned. There's a difference between getting hurt and stunned. Stunned is like, oh shit, let me back up a little bit. Hurt is you lose your senses. You know what I'm saying? You lose your senses. That never happened to Canelo. Never happened to him in the fight.
Hurt is Zab Judah against Costa.
Right, that's hurt. That's hurt.
Yeah,
a guy backing up with his senses is saying it's just him saying, okay, you caught me with a good shot. Let me be careful. You know what I'm saying? Let me just be a little bit careful about what I'm going to do. Maybe I have to even backpedal a little bit.
But I'll tell you what.
I thought the Danny Jacobs. Sorry, Jimmy. It's quickly. No. I thought the Danny Jacobs performance. I thought he looked poor in that as well. To be honest with you, he should have got Danny Jacobs out of there. Trust me, he should have knocked Danny Jacobs out. And he was just in 2nd, 3rd gear.
Danny Jacobs fought in survival mode. I agree, but I think that it's hard when you're fighting a guy who's naturally bigger than you.
Yeah, he was fighting to not to lose. He was fighting not to get knocked out.
He's a good fighter too. On top of that,
he was
huge. Yeah, he was huge. But I'm not making an excuse for Triple G. I thought he tried to get too cute, and he was trying to get too cute against somebody too big and too elusive. But with Canelo, think about also what he did with Triple G. He must have hurt him a little because he changed his complete. You don't usually see somebody at that level. The ring title usually doesn't change his style. At the end of the fight, the reason why I think you agree, the reason why Triple G won, he might not have done the best skills, but he didn't change his style. He came forward, he fought the way Triple G. Canelo was going back, going off the run. I mean, he was fighting totally different, and he was fighting different because Triple G hurts when he hits you.
I thought Canelo did well when he stood his ground.
That's the matrix.
That's the one thing that I'm going to be paying attention to in this fight. I'm wondering if Canelo looked back at that fight and said, "Man, when I stood my ground, I had my moments." Okay.
Well, we'll let Page takes it because he's angry for the first time, and I was.
So I'm wondering if he's saying, "Do I have to do something?" If I was Canelo, right? And it's again, this is easier said than done because this has to do with conditioning, and it's also remember your fighter understands what you're trying to do too when you're fighting at that level. What I would try to do is fight him in spots and try to circle, not run, circle him, circle to his left, right? And hit, let him come back, let him have his little moments, and then do it again. I would try to do that. That would be because you're not gonna beat Golovkin, at least in my opinion. If I'm judging the fight, you're not gonna beat Golovkin with him controlling the real estate in the ring. He's too much of a puncher. He's punching you. Not only that he's backing you up, Golovkin is also punching you. So he's scoring points. It's hard for me to give the other guy that round or that exchange when you're backing up, unless you do something dynamic, like you stun him, you hurt him. So Canelo I think he has a very uphill battle in this fight. In order to win, if I was the judge, I'm talking about me, myself. If I was the judge, he has an uphill battle because he's going to have to, and I think he could do it. It's going to be hard. It's easier said than done because when he stood his ground, he did have his moments in that fight.
And I was let me just add to that matrix real quick. When he not only when he stood his ground, every time he engaged, GGG backtracked at least 2 steps. GGG got the respect of Canelo's power early.
Oh, for sure. That's what. Yes, Canelo has power, man.
Yeah, Canelo landed a few more, but he did land more power punches than GGG. So and GGG felt those power. I mean, it's not that he heard him, but he respected the power.
Sharp puncher.
Yeah, he respected the power.
Yeah.
When you pick Canelo is one of the best in the world.
It's going to be a great fight, man.
No, sorry, that was it. That's all I said.
I was going to say, when you pick your moments against Golovkin, you have to hit him with punches in bunches because Golovkin actually covers up. I don't think he counters as much as he should. He's and I think that's the best way to beat him. Like at times, like Kell Brook was doing when he was hitting him with 4 or 5 shots, but Kell Brook just didn't have enough to keep Golovkin off him. Where Canelo has. Canelo's stronger. He's got a better chin.
Do you guys think Abel Sanchez? I'm sorry, brother. I was gonna say, do you guys think Abel Sanchez hurt GGG by saying, "Oh, that's how he fights, but he likes getting hit. He likes getting hit," and not being able to get hit because he got a guy running around kind of affected him? You think by the training? I don't know.
What do you mean? Like,
when Abel Sanchez told Golovkin that Canelo likes getting hit.
No, he was telling people Triple G likes
for a while back, a few years back, GGG was like, his whole thing was like, "Oh, he doesn't like chasing fighters. He likes getting hit to bait him in." Like,
like against Monroe, yeah.
I got you now. I got you, yeah.
No, I mean, some fighters Sanchez might have hurt GGG in the long run.
No, I don't personally. I don't think that would affect. Because listen, some guys like to get hit. Some guys need to get hit. Mickey did. He said it. He used to like to get hit. I don't. You know what I mean?
No, I know. But my point is, was he training for that?
No. Yeah, I don't think Abel Sanchez. To be honest with you, dude, I don't think he's a very fundamental guy. That's why you don't see him with images. He's more about this is a discipline of fighting. He's about turning punches over. The A's and B's. Like he's not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's fucking with people's style too much. And if for what you read from people, and again, this is from what I'm taking from what fighters have said about him. You come to him with a pretty much clay. He says he just shapes it. But it's got to be good clay. Exactly. He just shapes the clay. He doesn't teach technique. Basically, he was kind of being cocky, meaning you better have your shit when you come here.
Jimmy, you're right. Jimmy, I picked that up from him too. I picked that up from Abel Sanchez. There are certain guys that you have to come in with some tools. You have to come in with a certain. They don't want to have to show you. In other words, if I got to show you, that means I'm starting from the beginning. Now you come in with your own tool set, and you says, okay, now it's time to sharpen it or mold it in a certain way. Okay,
basically,
let's work on certain rhythms. Let's work on certain techniques that you can use with the weapons that you have. But if he has to show you from scratch, maybe he's not the best trainer for that. He's not the best trainer.
Abel Sanchez, he's like a boxing valet. You know, when you get a car and you give it a good valet and it looks nice. I mean, he polishes things up. That's all he does. He doesn't
polishes things up. Yep.
He doesn't bring. Yeah, he doesn't bring fighters through. He's very one-dimensional as a trainer. I think to be honest with you, I know you like a lot of you guys are not going to like this. I think he steals a living a little bit. I thought the advice he gave to Gassiev was terrible. I don't think I've ever seen this guy give good advice to Golovkin. You got to remember, Golovkin doesn't need Abel Sanchez's advice. Golovkin knows what he's doing in the ring. He's had 350 amateur fights, 40 pro fights. He doesn't need Abel Sanchez telling him what to do.
Well, I don't know, brother. I disagree. I think Abel Sanchez needs GG just as much as GG needs Abel Sanchez because they have
Don't be silly, man.
They have click, brother. You need a good trainer.
Hold on.
Let him do it. Explain his position. Then
go on, lad. Go on.
Because a bad trainer could have ruined GGG's career.
And I agree with you.
I disagree with that.
I think economically, there was that Mexican style that GGG needed to economically be who he is today. Economically speaking.
Yeah.
Now skill wise, he was polished by Abel Sanchez, but what other trainer was going to give GGG that mystique?
Listen, but there's so many trainers out there that could have done just the same, if not made Golovkin better. You know, how do you know how good Golovkin could be if he's only been with Abel Sanchez? Abel Sanchez is a good trainer.
That's not my point, brother. That's not my point. I'm saying economically speaking, because what GGG was seeking was the Mexican fan base, the money, the economic.
He was.
I get that, but that's not my point. I'm not saying about if he's a bigger star. Maybe so. My point is, what does Abel Sanchez brings to Golovkin's boxing career? In other words,
I can tell you what he's
tactics and everything else.
I think economically it opened his doors. You're right. I agree with you. I agree with everybody. Skill wise, any other trainer could have just done probably equally or better or whatsoever. But economically, he needed Abel Sanchez to be in there to speak for him that Mexican style.
But ElDude, that's not Abel Sanchez's job. There, it's not the job of the promoter.
But remember, GGG was the one seeking the Mexican style. He wanted to be like Cesar Chavez. He came here seeking a Mexican trainer.
There's something true to what ElDude is saying. Now, do I think that?
No, I agree.
That was Tom Laughlin's idea, by the way, the Mexican style. That was Tom Laughlin's. And he didn't look for what it was. When he first came here, he was dealing with a shithead. And Laughlin knew of Abel and he was doing interviews type of thing. He was going around. And the only thing he ever credited Sanchez, which is true, and if you see his tapes from earlier when he was at the amateurs, Sanchez is good. He was good with Norris too, turning the wrist over. He's big on using your legs, and that's his claim to fame. He likes to work with heavy punches, and that's his thing. He turns, and that's the one thing Triple G credited him. He goes, he really tried to turn the hands over. That's the only thing, though.
I'm gonna tell you one thing that one fighter that Golovkin reminds me of. There's two fighters that he reminds me of in terms of poise and defense, especially early in his career. He reminds me of Salvador Sanchez, and he reminds me of Julio Cesar Chavez, who probably was mimicking a little bit of Salvador Sanchez at the time.
Yes.
And that is
very good. Very good.
They don't show emotion. They don't show no emotion. Okay, it's one emotion, whether they get hit whether they're hitting you and they're winning the fight. It's just one emotion, and also they stay very relaxed. They're able to weave punches without using that much movement. Chavez was people don't realize this about Chavez. You could go back and watch some of his fights. Chavez used to glide with his feet, not like jumping, just glide and make you miss punches.
Yeah, he had good defense, man.
Yeah, Golovkin does the same thing too. Golovkin used to do the same thing too. Go watch the Ishida fight. Watch before he knocks out Ishida. Watch him weave punches without using his legs, just his body. I mean, his upper body.
That's where the polishing comes in and play, I think, because I have to give Abel Sanchez some credit, man, because boxing is so competitive today, and you have to have a package. And a trainer like Abel Sanchez has a huge package, a big facility. He's an expert. He has connection, Mexican style. I mean, I think GGG and Abel Sanchez fit right in. And look at him now, man.
Listen, he does have a nice place.
Don't get me wrong, man. Don't get me wrong, right? Don't get me wrong. He's done it. I'm not saying Golovkin should get rid of Abel Sanchez. I've not said that once. I'm just saying, is this guy as good? I think we give trainers a lot more credit than they deserve. I really do.
It's like a football coach.
Hang on a sec,
football coach or baseball. I'm sorry.
Hang on a sec. Just quickly, when you look at Panama Lewis from the 80s, and
Panama Lewis,
this guy had some of the best fighters in the world at the time. Yet the guy was a trash trainer. So sometimes trainers get lucky. Trainers get lucky with fighters.
That's true.
Abel Sanchez got a bit lucky with Golovkin. That's just my point. I mean, because there's a lot of trainers out there that could have done.
It's about.
I agree.
It's about relationship.
When it comes to the Mexican style, if I'll tell you what, Robert Garcia would be a better choice for me. If you're going to go Mexican style, stick with that. Robert Garcia would be a better.
But there's a difference, brother, between Robert Garcia and Abel Sanchez, because Abel Sanchez is very humble. He keeps his fighters humble, and Robert Garcia, they're very rowdy in the gym. They joke a lot. They tease a lot. They say a lot.
Well, that's why a lot of them don't come in on weight either, right?
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
He had a string of fighters didn't come on weight. I think with Abel Sanchez, Triple G's a very serious dude. Like I've been told he can be a dink in the gym, like get really mad at everybody. If you're in there and they're joking around, like he's been known to spark out. So there has to be a relationship. Like it might not have to echo Stu's point. Abel's not really bringing any. All right.
In the ring, Cuadras. You're right. He put it.
I was say Abel. I think him and it's more of a personal relationship than anything. You know what I mean? Because I don't to say what Stu's saying. It's a good fit. Like you get to use that Mexican style, Abel Sanchez. I hear what you're saying, but I agree with what Stu's saying too. Triple G was so polished. A fucking 350 amateur fights. You know what I mean? Like he was a diamond. He just need that last Hasidic Jew to polish that shit up. You know what I mean? And that's, so at that point, needed a good.
But it takes an expert polisher to keep shit like that polished.
You could get fucking Paddy Fitzpatrick to train Lomachenko. And Lomachenko's still going to win fights. He's still going to win fights.
But there's something about relationships there's something about relationships with a trainer when it comes to like preparing for a big fight.
Stewie's fucking it's funny, man. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had mute. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. So when it comes to personal, when you're training with someone, right? When you have a good relationship with them, and because let's be real, man. There's not that much to boxing. Yes, there's little techniques, there's little nuance, nuance. There's little things you could add to your game that can work out in a fight. But there's not really much to boxing in terms of teaching somebody how to box. So
and a lot of it, we're trying to. Someone needs to hold the pads. Let's be real, and the bucket, and someone needs to have a look at these opponents. A lot of fighters are quite lazy. They don't really know who they're fighting, and that's why a lot of them get.
But they have to look at their best interest.
Dude, you know that I found when I was real quick when I was doing a little bit of boxing. I met how I met a trainer that I said, you know what, I want to train with this guy.
Yo, Jimmy, you're not on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Last comment because Mr. BDA is saying we have to end this. So
No, I was just gonna say that I just went to a gym. And I went to go spar with this. I went to go spar there, and the guy that was training me didn't show up. He just didn't show up. So this guy was like, "I'll train you. You know what I'm saying? I'll be in your corner." I said, "All right, cool." That's how we hit it off. Just the way he was saying certain things, and in that sparring fight, I won. I was doing damage. I was like, "Oh shit, I feel real confident with this guy. Let me go back again." I started going to this gym, and from there on, we stuck together.
Yeah, I think certain fighters, real quick. I think certain fighters suit certain trainers. It's like Abel likes the come forward, aggressive type fighters. He doesn't like the elusive movement fighters.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you all for coming. We're gonna have to end this show today. And I just have to say, Virgil Hunter is the best trainer of all time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks, guys, for showing up. We'll do another show, and we'll let you know when it takes place. For sure, there's a show on Wednesday, but I might do one before that. But BDA is going to do a show on Wednesday. So thanks a lot, guys, for showing up.
Peace.
Peace, guys. Sorry about leaving it on mute.
Don't worry, Jimmy. Don't worry. All right, see you guys.
Cool. You're cool, man.
All right, Stu.
See you in a bit.
Peace, guys.
Ciao, guys.
Oh, Stu, I was just telling my girl what I was saying. I told my girl this kid cracks me up. That's why I was off mute. You heard me say your name.
Right, yeah. It's good to have you. It's good to have you on here, Jimmy, mate.
Thank you, brother.
It'd be a quieter place without you.
Yeah, I'm a loud idiot. I know. Hi, brothers.
We all love you on here, Jimmy. Don't you worry about that.
Worry,
thank you, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Right, see ya.
Bye.
All right, everybody in the chat, thanks a lot for coming. Check out our Patreon page, iTunes. We're gonna post the show over there. Check out our Facebook page. I'm trying to put more content over there, but we can have some boxing debates there. See if you guys join me on Facebook. Boxing debate it's facebook.com/boxing debate. The links are in the description, so check it out, guys. All right, have a good night. Take care.